Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees. First pitch should be here in a few minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Game is being broadcasted on ESPN, and they have the Little League World Series on right now between New York and Connecticut. So I'm hoping that they'll flip it to one of the other ESPN channels, but we will find out here in just a few minutes. So let's get into the thumbnail here. On the left, our third baseman from the Seattle Mariners, Brendan Donovan, and on the right, infielder stud, Jazz Chisholm Jr. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading it off for the Mariners at DH, Taylor Ward. Batting second, playing second base, Cole Much Young. Batting third, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, right fielder today, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting fifth, playing center field, it is J-Rod Julio Rodriguez. Batting sixth, playing first base, welcome back to the lineup after wrist soreness, it's Josh Naylor. Batting seventh, playing third base, it is Brendan Donovan. Batting eighth, catching today for Seattle, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting ninth, playing shortstop, the rookie phenom, Colt Emerson. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 4-6 record, ERA of 3.08, it is Miller time, Bryce Miller. And now let's get into the starting lineup for the home New York Yankees. Leading it off for the Yankees in center field, Trent Grisham. Batting second, DHing for New York, Ben Rice. Batting third, playing right field, Spencer Jones. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, Luis Garcia Jr. Batting fifth, playing left field, Elliot Ramos. Batting sixth, playing second base, Jazz Chisholm Jr. Batting seventh, playing third base, Ryan McMahon. Batting eighth, catching today for New York, Austin Wells. And batting ninth, playing shortstop for the Yankees, George Lombard Jr. And on the mound for the Yankees with an 8-6 record, ERA of 4.18, it is Will Warren. And we're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And I'm just trying to see how they're going to coordinate all of this with the Little League World Series already on. You know, and that's the one thing, you know, when you end up dealing with ESPN or some of these other, you know, channels that, end up having an event prior, a lot of times that event has to finish. And then we end up, going to the next event here. So it looks like they're not going to cut away. And again, we have to wait. It looks like for this Little League World Series Port Washington matchup there with New York going against Darien, Connecticut on ESPN. So, and again, normally, they're usually pretty good about it. But again, if a game prior runs a little long, depending on what the event is, sometimes they will cut away and they'll put it on ESPN 2, 3, or one of the other channels. But it doesn't look like they are doing that here at the moment. And I'm going through all the other ESPNs, and it is not on Mariners TV. It is an ESPN Global exclusive. So hopefully we'll be able to get first pitch going here, I would assume in the next 10 minutes or so, as long as, everything goes, to the order that it's supposed to, but we will see. Golf in the building, what's good? Rebecca in the building, what's good? Dark Passenger and Jace in the building, what's good? So again, game was supposed to start for a first pitch at 4 o'clock, but they do have a Little League World Series matchup that started prior. Port Washington, New York versus Darien, Connecticut. And again, we are just waiting for them to kind of get going here. And hopefully they'll cut away at some point or another. I'm going to look to see if there's any additional information here. I assume first pitch now is going to be probably 4:10 or 4:15 Pacific time. It's 4:02 right now, unless they decide to, cut away earlier. But I'm going to find out here in a second, hopefully. Wish this game was just on Mariners TV and we wouldn't have this issue, or if it was on Root Sports like it was in the past. But anytime you end up having a global broadcast, sometimes this happens. So. All right, so it looks like from 4 o'clock to 4:05, but obviously it's already 4:03, and I don't know if that is accurate. And we're in the top of the 6th inning with runners at first and second. Connecticut up 8-4, and I'm not really sure how many more innings this is going to go for. I'm going to look that up as well. All day in the building, what's good? All right, so it looks like Little League World Series games are only going 6 innings. And okay, the game just ended. All right, so they got a big defensive play here, and it looks like Connecticut just beat New York. And maybe that 4:05 start actually will happen. So obviously it'll probably take a little time for people to warm up and whatnot. So now if you are on ESPN, it is a final. Connecticut 8, New York 4 for the Little League World Series matchup. And obviously now we should be transitioning into the game in just a moment or two. And I was hoping, oh gosh, I figured the games were only, 6 or 7 innings in the Little League World Series, but sometimes you got to double check. Because obviously if it was going to go 9 innings or 8, we'd be sitting here for another 30, 40 minutes waiting for this Little League World Series matchup to end. So now they're queuing away from everyone there in Connecticut and New York in the Little League World Series matchup. Not necessarily the World Series game, but it was an elimination game in the Metro. And now it looks like they're starting to finally transition into the Mariners and the Yankees. All right, here we go. Looks like they're now starting to kind of get things going. Luckily, we didn't have too much of a delay. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. And again, things have not gone, the Mariners' way. And, the way things have going, it's like, man, are we going to win any games in August? It's been that bad, and again, it doesn't matter if we're playing teams that are healthy or not. We're playing, playoff teams pretty much all through August. And even the teams that we're playing that may not make the playoffs, we typically have a hard time with the Astros and the Blue Jays. But everyone else, Yankees and Phillies and Cubs and Brewers, Red Sox, it's going to be kind of a nightmare. And again, if we were playing like we were last year, we would like our chances against any of these teams this year. But based on how we played this year, we're definitely, I don't want to say we're a sinking ship, but it definitely is not looking good, and just keeping it real and keeping it 100. And again, we're just going to have to find a way to, win some ball games. And it's going to get easier in September. And I know we're going to be able to win games then. But the thing is, if we end up dropping a lot of games in August, not only are we not going to make the playoffs, but we might end up being 15, 20 plus games below 500. And even if we end up doing really well in September and go on this amazing winning streak, it's still not going to be enough, more than likely to catch up, to the Astros or the Rangers or the other wild card teams. So, I don't know what has to happen besides firing Dan Wilson, maybe to give them a spark. Hey, the Red Sox fired their manager. They went on a little bit of a run. Obviously, I would love for them to get rid of Dipoto and Wilson to kind of send a message, but again, it seems like the organization is a little stubborn, but that might be the thing that kind of gets us going, because I really feel that Wilson has lost the team. With no J.P. Crawford in the lineup, we're not very good. We get Nails back, which is great, but with all of this talent, we're underachieving. And then finally, when we get great pitching, what happens? The bullpen ends up dropping the game for us on top of the lack of hitting. So Wu was excellent yesterday, normally giving up 6 runs on the road, had a 1-0 lead. Ferrer came in and was clean. And then what happened? Rucker and Bizzardo come in and they shit the bed, right? And when you only get 0 to 3 runs, you can't expect to win a lot of games in the MLB. And that's just 100% real talk. Again, you got to be able to get to that 4 to 5 run number. And sometimes that's not, even enough, to be able to win a game. But I'm hoping that we can find a way, to come through. But it definitely feels, like the overall vibe, with all the injuries we've had and, the poor lineups by Dan Wilson, it just doesn't feel like anyone really is playing for him anymore. It's almost, I don't think that they're sabotaging games. Obviously, they're playing for their contract. They're playing for, their city, for themselves, their family, their stats, their money, and obviously for Mariner fans. But it definitely feels that Wilson has lost this group. And again, 0 to 3 runs, on the daily almost all year is unacceptable. We've had too many guys underachieve, and we just got to find a way to come together somehow, some way where we can actually get good starting pitching, good bullpen, right? Good hitting, and then with some defense on top of that. But again, until we end up getting Brash, Criswell, and Vargas, the bullpen is going to be in shambles, let's be honest. And then starting pitching, I like our starting 5, and we got Cade Anderson waiting in the wings to be number 6. But the lack of hitting has been brutal. The hitting and the bullpen have cost us so many games this season. And again, with, stars in our lineup, it's not like we don't have any good players. It's like you got Cole Young, you got Randy Arozarena, you got Dominic Canzone, you got Julio, you got Naylor, you got Donovan, you got Cal Raleigh, you got Colt Emerson. Adding Taylor Ward, but not having JP and Luke Raley in the lineup shows you, how important those guys are, to this particular team, especially JP Crawford. He may not be a guy that hits 300, but he is a guy that's patient, like Taylor Ward, and he doesn't need to get 2, 3, 4 hits a game to be productive. He can get 1 hit or 2 and then get walked a couple times, and then guys knock him in. And he's a driving force to this team's success. With JP Crawford in the lineup, we're 5-6 games above 500. With JP Crawford out of the lineup, we're like 10-15 games below 500. So again, JP Crawford, may not be everyone's favorite player. Yes, he's messed up on defense at shortstop and third. But again, just him, having the presence in the box and being patient, it kind of carries over to the other guys. And with Taylor Ward, he might be patient in the box, but I don't really feel it carries over to the other players since he's so new to the ball club. And he's been able to get about 1 hit a game, besides 1 game so far. A couple games back, he ended up getting a triple, and we got an RBI by Cole Young. But, I think Ward needs to be batting 7th or 8th. Cole Young should be leading off. Randy should be batting 2nd. Julio batting 3rd. And, Dom batting 4th. I mean, it's pretty clear. You want to make sure you have extra at-bats late in the game for your best 3 hitters. And last time I checked, Ward, Young, and Randy are not the 3 best hitters. And again, even though Ward has been able to get a few hits since joining the team, I would rather have Julio, late in a game, get a late at-bat than Taylor Ward. So, again, it just feels like Dan Wilson is stubborn like Scott Service, not willing to make a lot of changes. And again, in baseball, you have to adjust. you have to make changes. And it just feels like he's incredibly stubborn. And again, I don't know who in the dugout thought that Taylor Ward leading off is a good move. And again, he has been able, to get a few hits here and there, obviously as a leadoff hitter, but I think that we could use him better, having him lower in the lineup. And obviously with Ward in the lineup leading off, hasn't really worked out for us getting wins, even though he might be able to get one hit a game. Naylor's back, so that's great, obviously with the wrist soreness. But again, we just got to do the best that we can with what we have to work with. And again, it hasn't been a good year. Last year, phenomenal. This year, it's been horrendous, but again, we just have to be able to stay together, as a crew, and obviously just understand we got to take it one game at a time, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year if Dan Wilson is managing the team, if DePoto is still there or not. And again, we do have a bright future in the farm, but we got to be able to look at the matchups that we currently are going right now, right in front of us, and right in front of us is the New York Yankees. But JP, man, what I wouldn't have assumed that he would have been that much of a factor to this team's success, but he truly is. All right, here we go, getting ready for first pitch. Will Warren on the mound, Taylor Ward in the box. First pitch is low with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Global broadcast here on ESPN. 1-0 pitch, popped up, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike from Warren to Ward. Magic number is 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And obviously we want our pitcher, Bryce Miller, to give up 2 runs or less because we don't know what the bullpen's going to do. 1-1 pitch popped up into center field and caught, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Down goes Taylor Ward. Next up, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. On deck is Randy Arozarena. And on the mound for the Yankees, 8-6 record, ERA of 4.18, Will Warren. So really at the moment, it doesn't really matter who we go against. Good pitcher, bad pitcher, righty, lefty. We just have had a hard time getting hits, let alone RBIs and home runs against anybody. And it doesn't help that we're going in our hardest schedule probably in any month that we've had in the last 2 to 3 years. And when the ball club is playing good, it's not a big deal. And there we go on a 1-0 pitch. Cole Clutch Young getting a nice one there right up the middle. And there we go, Cole Young getting the party started. Let's go. Nice job, Cole. Nice little single up the middle by Cole Clutch Young, doing clutch things. Next up is Randy Arozarena. On deck is the Italian stallion, Dominic Ganzone. See if we can bring Cole early. First pitch, takes a strike looking, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Yeah, and it's crazy. I had to do some, digging with the stats to kind of see what our records are with guys in the lineup and without. And a lot of errors at shortstop and third base. JP looking over his shoulder, knowing Colt is about to take his job. I would be nervous too. Knowing that it's inevitable, it's happening. But again, the most patient hitter on the team. We don't have anybody like that really besides Taylor Ward and Cole Young. And back, and it is gone. Let's go, Randy Arozarena, back-to-back home runs. Yesterday and today, solo dinger yesterday, 2-run jack today. Let's go, 2-0 Seattle. Now let's see if we can score 5 today. Let's go. He might have hustling issues. He might not be good at ground balls in left field. The one thing that he can do, he can hit. No one can debate that. He's been our most consistent hitter from the beginning of the year. He's had a few minor injuries, but nothing really too long. and getting the job done there. Big home run there. And it was a pitch low and away. Normally, Randy, with that type of swing, it doesn't go yard, but it looks like he just got just enough with the swing on that pitch low and away. 2-0 Seattle. Trident's up. And if anyone, needed runs, home runs, RBIs, hits, it's the Seattle Mariners. Great job there by Randy. And hopefully that'll carry over to some of the other players on the team. Great job, Arosarena. 0-1 pitch. And a little dribbler here by Dom. Should be a routine play. Throw to first. And that is 2 away. And it's not often that we get too many players that are hitting home runs in back-to-back games. We have seen a few of our players do it. A great job by Randy getting the job done here today. 2-0, and it also makes it special, too, that we actually had Cole Young on board. So, obviously getting a solo dinger is great, but getting a 2-run jack or a 3-run bomb or a grand salami really sets the tone, and good job there. 0-1 pitch, Julio Rodriguez low and at the knees with a sinker, 92 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. And this is a global broadcast on ESPN if you want to watch along. And on deck is Josh Naylor. We had a little bit of a delay because of a Little League World Series game that was just wrapping up prior. So we were supposed to start around 4, but a little bit of a delay didn't bother Randy Arosarena one bit. And again, a nice 2-0 lead. But as we know, 2-0 is not enough to beat the Yankees. We're going to need a lot more than that. Back, and gone! Julio Rodriguez, let's go! Another home run, 3-0 Seattle. Let's go, baby. I decided to flip up the photo today, and I guess it's a good luck charm. I wanted a Tridents up by Julio. He said, you know what? NWSF, we're going to do it for you in the first inning. 3-0 Seattle. That's what I'm talking about. Where has this offense been? Next up is Josh Naylor. And again, on deck is Brandon Donovan. We're a talented team. And again, it's just crazy to have so much talent, and not produce. But finally, we're finding a way to get something on Will Warren. Naylor, slow dribbler up the middle. Routine play, throw to first. And then that's finally out number 3, but not after. We put up 3 runs, 2-run jack by Randy, solo dinger by Julio. 3-0 Seattle. Let's go. And again, we need something to smile about. We need something to be happy about. It's been rough. And again, that's awesome. Great start. When's the last time that we hit 2 home runs in the first inning? It has been a while. And on global broadcast on ESPN, normally when we're on global broadcast, we're terrible. We just get absolutely mauled. And so to be able to do this in front of the globe, awesome. Great start. 2-run jack by Randy, solo dinger by Julio. Tridents up, 3-0 M's. Next up, center fielder, leadoff hitter Trent Grisham. Batting second, DHing Ben Rice. And batting third, right fielder Spencer Jones. And on the mound for the Mariners, 4-6 record, ERA of 3.08, Bryce Miller. Let's go, baby. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. 45 subs to go to 24,600. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And let's see where we're at on the likes with 104 in the building. Hopefully in that 20 to 30 range, if not higher already. Awesome start. One of the best starts for the Mariners in months. 3-0 Seattle. And we're at 34. 66 to go. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Mariner Moose coming up big early. We love it. Nice job by Randy with the 2-run jack. Cole Young got the party started with a single up the middle. Randy ended up hitting the big home run, making it 2-0. And then Dom grounds out, and Julio says, you know what? I want to join that home run party. 3-0 Seattle. Awesome. You know, it's about time that we finally show up against a good team. One of the best starts the Mariners have had in a long, long time. All right, we got Bryce Miller on the mound, and hopefully Bryce can give up 2 runs or less. First pitch, in there for a strike, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour from Bryce Miller to Trent Grisham, 0-1 count. And, you know, Bryce started off really, really hot, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1 record, but lately has, kind of gone on a little bit of a slide with Emerson Hancock. And both those guys were the top 2, at one point during the season, and now are probably our 4 and our 5. But again, that doesn't mean that they can't get a little bit better before the season ends. Pitch is low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Trent Grisham. 1-1 pitch. Fouled off behind the plate and out of play. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the first inning, 3-0 Seattle. Global broadcast here on ESPN if you're looking for it on Mariners TV or on another outlet. Normally when we play global broadcast, we get absolutely mauled and smashed. But again, a great start. As long as Miller pitches decent and the bullpen, does better than yesterday, like Bizzardo and Rucker, we should have a very good chance of competing or winning this game. And it's definitely a must-needed win. Pitches inside there to Grisham, 4-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Grisham. Try dance up. Let's go M's. Yeah, and you never know what version of the Mariners you're going to get. That's what makes it kind of exciting. I mean, it would be nice to be a little bit more consistent and more predictable, where we know that they're going to get runs and they're going to play well. But, you just never really know with this team. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and a good punch out. Down goes Trent Grisham. It's Miller time, baby. And a good start here for Bryce Miller. Nice job, Miller. All right, next up, in the 2-hole, DHing with a breakout year, Ben Rice. And on deck, in the 3-hole, right fielder Spencer Jones. First pitch to Jones, or Ben Rice, fouls it off and out of play. Sinker, 96 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Ben Rice in the box, Bryce Miller on the mound, Spencer Jones on deck. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off. It's crazy the echo that you get here at Yankee Stadium. Again, when you hit home runs here, or you even crush one into like foul territory or behind the plate, it kind of sounds like, not necessarily like they're using a metal bat like they do, in other leagues and whatnot, but it definitely has a different sound of the crack of the bat here. And a line drive right to Cole Young. Beautiful, baby. Let's go. And that is 2 away. And you already know Cole Clutch Young, one of the most consistent players on the team that can do it offense and defense, just like Julio Rodriguez. Great job there by Cole, and that is 2 away. Next up in the 3-hole, right fielder Spencer Jones. On deck is Luis Garcia Jr. First pitch is high and inside with a 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Try dance up. Let's go M's. One-0 pitch. Gets him to pop up behind the plate towards that Bank of America sign. 1 ball and 1 strike from Miller to Jones. I mean, the schedule gets much easier in September. I know we're going to win games then. It's just how are we going to do in the toughest month that we've had in maybe 3 years? And if we were playing like last year, it wouldn't be a big deal. We would be definitely up for the challenge, going against teams like the Brewers and Cubs and Phillies and, Rays and Yankees and Astros and Red Sox and Blue Jays. But just based on how we played this year, there definitely could be a few sweeps, and we cannot have that happen. We got to be able to try to do our best to win 2 out of 3 and at least at the bare minimum win 1 out of 3. So that way we don't get swept over and over. 2 balls and 2 strikes. From Miller to Jones. Two pitch, big swing and a miss. Down he goes, and that is out number 3. And it's always awesome when the Mariners can get off to a good start, and then the other team doesn't respond immediately, which has happened 90% of the time when we scored first. It feels like, oh, look at us, 2 home runs, up 3-0, and then all of a sudden the pitcher gives up 2 or 3 runs, and the game is tied. So good job by Bryce to keep it at 3-0, and let's see if we can add on another run in this inning more. Next up for the Mariners in the top of the second, in the 7-hole, third baseman Brendan Donovan. Batting second in the 8-hole, catcher Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. And batting third in the 9-hole, shortstop Colt Emerson. Tried ends up. Let's go M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 45 subs to go to 25,000 or 24,600. And let's see where we're at on the likes. We should be getting close to that 50 number. 121 in the room. And we're at 43. $57 more likes to get to 100. End of the first inning, 3-0 Mariners. And we haven't been able to say that in a long, long time. So it definitely feels good. The game is far from being over, but we'll take a 3-0 lead any day of the week, especially how challenging things have been, lately for us this season. First pitch to Donnie. Pops up. And in between 2 defenders. Let's go. And sometimes it pays to get a little lucky, and Donnie getting a double. Look at the awareness by Brendan Donovan. Could have been completely satisfied with just a single, but ends up, finding 2 defenders, getting caught in between the ball, and says, you know what? I might as well try to go for 2. Slides in and gets in safe, and a big double out of Brendan Donovan that could have been easily a single there. Nice job there by Donnie. Next up is Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. On deck is Colt Emerson. Grisham probably should have ended up making that play, but it's all about communication there. And obviously with Lombard Jr. and Grisham, you got to communicate. But we'll take advantage of, even though it's not an error, we'll take advantage of that mistake. And we've been able to get some mistakes on the Rays and Yankees, but can we capitalize off the mistakes? That's the big thing. First pitch takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees, curveball, 80 miles an hour there by Will Warren. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. I mean, we've had that happen to us with our defense as well, where it gets right in between, 2 or 3 defenders, and for whatever reason, one guy doesn't call off the other, and they're looking at each other or looking up at the ball, and then it ends up dropping, but we'll take it. But I really like the awareness out of Donnie to stretch that into a double instead of a single. That move alone could end up giving us a run, rather than him just being at first base right now. Huge. 2-1 pitch, ends up taking a strike, looking high and inside. Sinker 91 miles an hour, 2 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Right hands up, let's go M's. This is one of the best starts we've had in quite some time. And again, we just got to be able to believe, no matter how bad things have been, that we will be able to compete, in some of these games and obviously get a few W's. And then while we get into September, it gets much easier. But again, we can't be 15 or 20 games below 500 when we get to September. So we have to find a way to overachieve and, win some of these really tough games against playoff teams. Pitches low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. What's good, everybody? Libra, Dante, Julie, Blackman, Brett in the building as Cal fouls that one out behind the plate. Count still remains 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and no outs. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. And again, we've been putting up 0 to 3 runs at a ridiculous rate this season. It's just been maddening, right? We need to get to 4 to 5 runs or more to compete, and we don't really know what our pitching is going to look like. But overall, our starting pitching has been pretty damn good lately. It's been our bullpen and lack of hitting. And again, 2-run jack by Randy, solo dinger by Julio, and it really started because of Cole Young in the 2-hole getting a single up the middle. Randy gets a 2-run jack on a pitch low and away, which was shocking that even happened, and then Julio crushed one into right as well, and Cal Raleigh on a 3-2 pitch takes a walk, and everything is looking Trident's up right now. Let's go. Runners at first and second now with no outs. Let's go, baby. Got to make up for the lack of offense for Woo yesterday. Woo normally gives up 6 runs every appearance on the road as we get a bunt attempt. Oh, my God. Colt Emerson with a bunt attempt. Someone pinch me. This is what good teams do, is they drop bunts down. And again, we don't play like this normally, but I'm really happy that we're able to get some production early within the first couple innings. And even though the bunt went foul, I love small ball, and I get it. Some of you may not understand, the importance of bunting and moving guys over and whatnot. We all like, big hits and RBIs and home runs and double plays and triple plays and center fielders and outfielders robbing home runs. But a real part of the game, is about moving runners over, and sac flies and bunts and, just trying to be able to be kind of methodical. And normally we're not that type of team. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Colt, and that is 1 away. I would have liked to see Colt continue to bunt in that at-bat. But again, if you got runners at first and second, you can't bunt towards third. You got to bunt towards first. Because if you bunt towards third, then you're going to get that runner going from second to third out. So there's kind of like a strategy there. Not every player understands. A lot of times when they go out there for a bunt, they're just trying to lay it down. But it's all about not only bunting, but the placement of the bunt, and depending on where guys are on base. And you have to know where you're trying to bunt to have it be a successful bunt. Next up is Taylor Ward. First pitch is high and away with a sweeper, 85 miles an hour, 1-0 count. And Ward has been getting about a hit a game. Obviously a triple a few games ago, and Cole Young got the RBI. Hitless in only 1 game so far. But again, I think I would rather have Ward, in the 7 or 8 hole, and I'd rather have Cole Young lead off, Randy in the 2, Julio in the 3, Dom in the 4. That makes a little bit more sense. But, again, Dan Wilson is assuming Ward is going to be like JP leading off as that patient hitter. But again, still trying to find his rhythm. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Sinker, 92 miles an hour, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. Try dance up. Let's go M's. And a little dribbler here by Ward. Should be a routine play. And double play, and that is the end of the inning. And that's why Ward should not be leading off. A great start for the Mariners. We can't complain. Yeah, we hit into a double play, but again, we already have 2 home runs. And there's some games where the Mariners get no home runs. So a Randy 2-run jack, a Julio solo dinger. And typically when we hit 2 home runs early, that usually means we'll hit a third or a fourth before the game is over. And hopefully that stays true. All right, let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for New York. Next up for the Yankees in the 4-hole, first baseman Luis Garcia Jr. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder Elliot Ramos. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. And on the mound, looking clean so far. 4-6 record, ERA of 3.08, Bryce Miller. And remember, Bryce started off 3-0, 4-0, 4-1. So hasn't really been doing that well in the last month and a half, but hopefully he'll be able to be clean like Wu was yesterday. Try dance up. Let's go Elms. 50th anniversary for the Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio for this legend and icon. He's retiring after this season, so we dedicate every stream to the one and the only Rick Riz. We love you. 45 subs to go to 24,600. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train for me and Paisley. And let's see where we're at on the likes. We should be at the halfway point now. 120 in the room. We should be close to 50 right now. And let's see where we're at. We're at 56. There we go. 44 more to go. I did. There was already rumors that he was going to retire last season before the Mariners offered him money. He was already prepared to walk away from the game at the end of last year when he was on Boston. So, but if you're about to retire and a team is crazy enough to offer you $6-7 million, of course you're going to take it. All right, let's go, Bryce. Global broadcast here on ESPN, and it feels good that we're finally playing great in front of a global audience. And speaking of a global audience, shout out to our females in the building, as well as all of our regulars, all our new subs, our mods, and everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond, Australia, New Zealand, and many, many other locations. Tune in on the regular, and I appreciate every single one of you. First pitch from Miller to Garcia, fouls it back to the Bank of America sign and the MLB Plus sign behind the plate, 0-1 count. Sinker 94 miles an hour there by Bryce Miller. Oh, 0-1 pitch from Miller to Garcia. Little dribbler up the middle. Donnie is there at third. I trust him. Throw to Naylor. Great to see Naylor back. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Next up in the 5-hole, left fielder Elliot Ramos. On deck is Jazz Chisholm Jr. If you're just tuning in, solo dinger by Julio. 2-run jack by Randy with a single by Cole Young to get the party started. And we have a 3-0 lead. Little slow dribbler towards third. Donovan is staying active. Throw to first. What a throw. And if that was JP or Will Wilson or, anybody that's, Weston Wilson or any of our players that, have tried to play that particular position, probably don't make that out. Great job there by Brandon Donovan, staying busy. 2 up and 2 down. And it's about being able to play that position, to the point where we don't have worries, and we know, obviously that we've had a few guys like Ben Williamson that we had last year that we had a pretty good trust, still couldn't really hit the ball, but he was a really good defender, kind of like Colt Emerson, can defend, but wasn't really a great hitter. But again, Donnie, can be a good hitter and a good defender. Good job there by Donnie. And a slow dribbler again, gets past Donnie, Emerson, but no throw there by Colt, and Jazz is safe. once that ball went past Donovan, no matter what kind of throw Colt would have had, it would have been safe. And it was a smart move by Colt not to throw, because if he would have thrown this ball, it would have went over the head of the Josh Naylor, the first baseman, and that would have turned into a double off an error rather than just a single. So I think Colt is starting to realize, you need to try to make plays, but also you need to know when to hang on to the baseball and just understand, hey, it's a single. But if you throw it and it's off, it's going to be a double. So good awareness there by Colt, the rookie. He's already made that mistake in the past, and it looked like he's starting to learn from it. And that's what you want out of your rookies and second-year players. make mistakes, but learn from them. First pitch takes a strike, looking high and inside to Ryan McMahon. 0-1 count. 215 batting average, 10 homers and 30 ribbies from the former Rocky. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. Single by Cole Young. 2-run jack by Randy. Solo dinger by Julio. And a line drive into right field. Get it, baby. Get it. Off the wall. And runner is going to come home. Jazz Chisholm with the speed. And runner is out as they try to make it into a triple. And that is out number 3. Bad base running there by Ryan McMahon. But they do end up scoring a run. 3-1 Seattle. Jazz has got incredible speed, so, a pretty hard throw to the cutoff man, but it was wild, and there was no chance that we were going to get Jazz at home, but we were able to get the runner at third. So, again, you don't get the out at home plate, but again, we end up getting McMahon getting greedy, trying to make a double into a triple, and thankfully the awareness of the Mariner defense gets that throw to third base, and Donovan makes every out that inning. End of the second inning, 3-1 Seattle. All right, it's time to make up for that run that we just gave up by McMahon with the RBI to Jazz Chisholm Jr. And both of these players here on the thumb are already making a difference. And let's see who's up next year for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, the guy that got the party started in the first inning. And you're doing good when you're already back in the top of the order again in the third inning. A lot of times, we don't even get until back to the top of the order, later in the game. So obviously being able to get some hits and home runs has definitely helped us. Next up, 1-for-1 with a run scored, Cole Clutch Young. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a 2-run jack, Randy Arosarena. And batting third, 0-for-1 right fielder, the Italian stallion, Dominic Ganzone. Trident's up, let's go M's. End of the second inning, 2-1, no, 3-1 Mariners. Let's go. $45 subs to go to 24,600. So waiting on our first dono on our dono train to get the party started. And let's see where we're at on the likes. We should be getting closer to that 60 to 70 number. We're at 62. We're almost there. 38 to go. And even that throw by Dom was wide right, and it was a little wild. It actually was in the perfect spot for the cutoff man to get it to Brendan Donovan, because if the throw wasn't wide right, McMahon probably gets a triple. So sometimes when you have a wild throw, you might not get the guy, coming home, but you might be able to get that other guy trying to, get that extra bag, and we did. And Young pops it up into shallow left, and that is 1 away. Down goes Cole Clutch Young. Next up is Randy Arosarena. On deck is Dominic Ganzone. And we've already seen the Yankees make a few errors, already with base running as well as communication on a pop-up on defense that dropped in between two players. And again, that's what we need. We need to have mistakes by the other team to keep us, obviously on our toes, and also to take advantage, of those moments. A lot of times we're the team making the mistakes, not the other way around, so we'll take it. First pitch fouled off behind the plate, 0-1 count. Trident's up, let's go M's, let's go Randy. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball into deep right field, fading out of play. Change up 87 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Oh-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Randy, getting fooled on a pitch low and at the knees, and that is 2 away. Next up is the Italian stallion Dominic Canzone, and on deck is Julio Rodriguez, who already has 1 home run today. First pitch is low and away with a changeup. 86 miles an hour there by Will Warren, 1-0 count. Be patient in the box. Top of the 3rd inning, 3-1 Mariners. Let's go. 1-0 pitch, high and away, sweeper, 87 miles an hour. 2-0 pitch, back, gone! Dominic Canzone, our 3rd home run, baby, let's go! And what did I say? When we hit 2 home runs early, it typically leads to a 3rd and a 4th home run. That's home run number 3, Randy Arozarena. Number 1, Julio Rodriguez. Number 2, and number 3, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Every home run into right field. 4-1 Mariners. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why you can't give up on this team, no matter how bad, things are going. There's going to be bandwagon and fair weather fans. But again, you want to make sure you don't give up, because you want to be able to experience moments like this rather than just completely giving up and quitting on the team, And again, great job here. And again, sometimes having a game like this could be a springboard win that could propel us to maybe get on a little bit of a hot streak moving forward. All it takes is one big game, to get the team going again. And a great job here. 3 home runs in 3 innings by the Seattle Mariners. 1-0 pitch, high and inside to Julio Rodriguez. 2-0 count, but awesome start. Randy with a 2-run jack after Cole Young got a single, Julio with a solo dinger, and Dominic Canzone with a Dom bomb, baby. Let's go. 4-1 Seattle. And you want to make sure you make up, for that McMahon RBI immediately. And look at that. Dom did. I love it. 2-0 pitch, high and inside. Count now is 3 balls and no strikes from Will Warren to Julio Rodriguez. I mean, we've been waiting on this all year, and again, sometimes when we do play really good teams, it brings out the best in us. Sometimes we're not going to win every time, but it's much better than playing, the Angels or the Athletics or the Royals and kind of playing down to them and sometimes getting a haymaker to the chin and then we don't respond. So, today everything is really, looking, tridents up, and I'm happy about that. 3-1 pitch. Ooh, and that's a 5-pitch walk to Julio. Let's go. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez, having the patience after hitting a home run and forcing the walk. Next up in the 6th hole, welcome back. Missed the game due to wrist soreness. First baseman Josh Naylor. On deck is Brandon Donovan. And again, this team is just way too talented to get rocked, game in and game out. We have too many good players, and sometimes we're, not going to play up to our potential. But today, showing the world that, we can compete. And even, when we play teams, that are top tier, the Rays or the Yankees or the White Sox or the Red Sox or the Guardians or Astros and Rangers, competing in the division, I don't really think that there's that many teams that are so above us. Obviously, we know the Dodgers are the Dodgers. But other than that, we know the Brewers are having a great year and, the Phillies and a few others. But I don't really think that we're afraid of anybody in the American League. We feel that we have as good of a chance as anybody. It's just that we've underachieved, and, we just got to be able to try to put it together. Pitch is low and away 2 balls and no strikes to Josh Naylor, and we're going to have a mound visit here. And this is probably one of the bigger meltdowns that we've seen from a decent pitcher in a minute. And again, a few mistakes with communication. 2 Yankees looking at a pop-up and having it drop in between them. Ryan McMahon with an RBI getting greedy, trying to make it a triple, and we end up getting that out. Because if we don't get that third out, maybe the Yankees score another run or two. You just never know. So, that was a little lucky on that end that he got greedy. Obviously we tried to take advantage of, that pop-up that landed in between 2 Yankee players, and Donnie made it a double instead of a single. So everyone is super aggressive today. And so far we haven't made any mistakes yet. And the Yankees have already made a couple. So 2 balls and no strikes from Will Warren to Josh Naylor. Let's go Nails. Again, the schedule gets much easier in September. We just can't be 15, 20 games below 500 when we get there, and again, with teams like the Rays that we already played, and then the Yankees and the Astros and the Cubs and the Phillies and the Brewers and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, it's just insane. Hardest schedule we've had in a long, long time. But if we can play like this, we should be able to steal a few games from those really good teams, whether we're at home or on the road. 2-0 pitch, hits the corner, and we're getting a challenge here from Naylor. I think this is going to get overturned. Let's see if we can get this to be a 3-0 count. Whoa, look at that. 2-1 count gets overturned to 3-0. Good challenge there by Naylor. And again, even we're getting challenges. Things are going good when we're not making any mistakes, including the challenges. Let's go. 2-run jack by Randy. Solo dinger by Julio and Dom. 4-1 Seattle. It's great to see production, because normally we're scoring 0 to 3 runs and we only have 1 or 2 guys out of 9 that are producing, and we already have half the team producing already within the first 3 innings. Great start for the Mariners. 3-1 pitch and a ball. Let's go. Another walk to Naylor. Big meltdown here. All right, let's go. Brandon Donovan. Let's see if we can get a home run or a big RBI from Donnie. And then on deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We already got 3 home runs. And again, usually when we hit, too early, it leads to a third or a fourth. And it kind of feels like this game, we might end up hitting 1 or 2 more home runs. We already have 3. And it's not going to hurt my feelings if we hit 1 or 2 more. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. Sinker, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Shout out to our female audience, our regulars, our mods, and everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. They just throw to second base, and it ends up hitting the bag, go figure, and Julio is safe. Everything is going the Mariners' way here early on. We're catching every break. Julio could have easily got thrown out there at second, but the throw was off, and then it unexpectedly hit the bag and then bounced out of the range of the second baseman. We're getting all the luck so far. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Top of the third inning, 4-1 Mariners. But again, remember, the Yankees are a good team. Even down this many, they easily could come back. We've seen it a number of times, even with no Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, or Cody Bellinger. This team obviously is legit, but based on how we played so far, it feels like we might be able to get the victory today as long as the bullpen doesn't lose it for us. I like the way we're playing here early on. 2 balls and 1 strike to Brandon Donovan. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike right down the middle. Sinker, 91 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. 4-1 Mariner lead. And Donnie with a little slow dribbler up the middle. Throw to first, and that is out number 3. 2 stranded, but that's all right. Dom with a bomb. And again, we'll appreciate that. Nice job there by Brendan Donovan. Or excuse me, Dominic Canzone. So we got home runs by Randy. 2-run jack with Cole Young on board, a home run by Julio, solo dinger, and then we get a home run by the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Let's go. 4-1 Mariners. All right, let's see what's up for the Yankees. Next up for the Yankees in the 8-hole catcher, Austin Wells. Batting second in the 9-hole, shortstop George Lombard Jr. And batting third, leadoff hitter, center fielder, 0 for 1 with a K, Trent Grisham. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning with a 4-1 lead. Gained another sub moments ago. Appreciate you. 44 subs to go to 24,600. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train to get us going. And let's see where we're at on the likes. We're at 67, 33 to go. 155 in the room. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And all it takes one individual to get the party started, and others will follow. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning, 4-1 Seattle. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. So far, so good here out of Bryce Miller. Obviously, Will Warren having not the greatest game, here at home. But again, at some point, you knew the bats were going to come alive, but you just never know, when that is going to happen for us, considering how rough it's been in 2026. First pitch is low and away with a sinker, 94 miles an hour there by Bryce Miller, 1-0 count. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-0 pitch. Fouled off. Behind the plate and out of play. Sinker. 95 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the third inning. 4-1 Seattle. Probably one of the best starts that we've had in weeks, let alone months. It's not often the Mariners put up 4 runs in a game, let alone within the first 3 innings, and have 3 home runs. But we'll take it. Especially going against an awesome team like the Yankees. It feels good when you can end up doing it to one of the top 2 teams in the American League. Obviously, we know the Rays are number 1 by a long shot, and then obviously Yankees are number 2. And the Yankees are number 2 doing it with no Judge, no Cody Bellinger, and no Giancarlo Stanton. And that is incredible. Shows you how good of a manager and how good their squad truly is, even without 3 of their top 5 guys not available. 1-2 pitch. Low and at the knees with a splitter missing. 85 miles an hour there by Bryce Miller. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Austin Wells. Yeah. Well, honestly, it was the injury. If Cal didn't have injuries, I think Cal would be probably at 20 home runs right now. I don't think he would have had a back-to-back, record-breaking season where he gets 60 last year and then this year gets 40 or more. I think that there would have been a drop-off. But again, injuries, especially if they're to your midsection or your legs, and again, you're a catcher and you're doing a lot of squatting and twisting, that could definitely, make things pretty difficult. And obviously there may be lingering, injuries, and the timing has been off. Obviously it's affected his mentals as well, being in the slump. And again, hopefully we can get back to the Cal Raleigh next year, but I don't really expect him, to get going this year. I think this version of Cal Raleigh is what you're going to get. We might be able to see a few more home runs and maybe slightly raise that batting average, hopefully to 200, before the season is over. But I don't expect him to get hot and all of a sudden, mash, 15, 20 home runs in a month. I don't see that happening at all, but hopefully next year, he'll be better. And a hard hit ball into right field. Get it, Dom. And Wells is going to get a stand-up double into right field. Next up is George Lombard Jr. And again, if you look at Cal's career numbers, he's normally hitting 20 to 35 home runs, but he's never been hurt. And again, when you get hurt, things get, a little bit more difficult, to be able to get back to where you were depending on the injuries. So, and I do believe that Cal will get back to being a 20 to 35 home run kind of guy, hopefully next year. And hopefully we don't have too many games that we miss with the strike. If we end up missing 62 games and we have a 100-game season, that's what I'm kind of hoping for, if not more games than that. But, just unfortunate, and it's not just him, it's the whole team. 0-1 pitch and a little dribbler towards first, and that is out of play. No balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Lombard Jr. Yeah, I mean, again, imagine having, a record-breaking season, being the guy leading the team to the ALCS Game 7, going to the home run derby with his dad and brother, winning it, and then, doing the WBC and everything else. And then all of a sudden getting these injuries. And you got to think, if you play, 159 out of 162 games and you're squatting for 2-3 hours, not only with the pressure to hit, but also defend and be a second manager on the field, there was a lot of responsibility, for Cal Raleigh, to keep everyone on point mentally, not only the starters, but the bullpen. And, after a few years, sometimes shit happens. And, I don't think anybody anticipated this much of a drop off. But again, it would be more serious if he never had an injury or injuries and then had these low numbers, if it just was like he's playing bad, so at least there's a reason, that obviously the injuries have affected him, and it also has affected his mental health, and obviously his mentals about, the confidence in himself. It's definitely taken a hit, and, he's been a little bit overly aggressive, not really good timing in the box, but I do believe he'll get back to being the Cal Raleigh we all know and love next season. And hopefully we get a little flash of Cal from last year towards the end of the year, if we can get it. Big swing and a miss on a 1-2 pitch, throw to first. And that is 1 away. I feel like baseball players go through it more, than basketball players or NFL players. And I think the only person that probably gets the same type of mental health, issues than baseball players going in a slump, either as a hitter or as a pitcher, is goalies in the NHL. Imagine being a great goalie and then all of a sudden you're giving up 3 to 5 goals every game. That could definitely affect the mentals as well. And obviously goalies are like catchers. It's a lot of responsibility. You got a lot of movement, squatting in your knees. And again, it's not easy, to play certain positions like goalie or catcher. And again, mental health is so important. But again, when you start going into a slump, it's really hard to get yourself out of it. And Naylor is there and caught, and that is 2 away. Good defense there by the M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Down goes Grisham. Next up is Ben Rice. First pitch to Ben Rice is a splitter, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Splitter, 85 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third, 4-1 Seattle. Pitch fouled off towards first base with a laser. Splitter 85 miles an hour there by Bryce Miller right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at second with 2 outs. Bottom of the third, 4-1 Seattle. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-2 pitch, low and away with a splitter, 85 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with the runner at second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning, 4-1 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And that pitch is low and at the knees, and that turns into a walk for Ben Rice. Okay, we got runners now at first and second with 2 outs for Bryce, and hopefully we'll be able to get this last out. Next up is Spencer Jones in the 3-hole, the right fielder. First pitch is high and away to Spencer Jones, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, low and at the knees with the splitter, 84 miles an hour, 2 balls and no strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third, 4-1 Mariners. Come on, Seattle. And a hard hit ball towards first base and out of play. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, there by Bryce Miller. 2 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Miller on the mound, Spencer Jones in the box. A very entertaining game, and it feels good to actually be ahead 4-1 instead of being down 4-1. You know, we've been taking haymakers and uppercuts and jabs all year long from every team, good, bad, or average, and it just feels good to play a really good team and to compete with them in their stadium. 2-1 pitch, popped up. And it hits the top of the dugout there near the Mariners, and that is out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third, 4-1 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Two-two pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field, fading out of play. Thank God. Last thing that we need is a 3-run jack for the game to be tied 4-4. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Miller to Jones. Two pitch, high and away. Cal is challenging, but I don't think he's going to win this. Looked a little outside just based on what I saw on screen. And Cal loses the challenge. Was hoping that it hit the corner and we missed it by 0.2. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Come on, Bryce. Got to get this last out. 3-2 pitch. Hard hit ball towards first and foul. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. Count still remains full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning, 4-1 Mariners. Come on, Bryce. Come on, defense. We got to try to get a pop-up, a ground ball out, or a strikeout here. Come on, Miller. Three-two pitch. And off the wall, Randy gets it. How many runs are going to score? Throw, look! And Brandon Donovan doesn't even look at home to Cal Raleigh, and we probably could have got that out at home, but gives up on the play. And just like that, 4-1 turns into 4-3. Could have been 4-2 if Donnie would have just thrown home immediately. And again, you got to be able to, make those throws. Once it gets into the infield, the relay guys got to get it home. And a big hit there turns into scoring 2 runs. And Randy actually did a decent job with the throw, but not even an attempt from Brandon Donovan to Cal Raleigh. Come on. I mean, even if it ends up being safe, show me that you're trying. Donnie should have turned and just threw to Cal immediately. Just at least try. Yeah, he might have scored still, but I want to see effort, Not just like, let's just give up on the play. I mean, we already have plenty of give up on the plays and Randy and left. I mean, again, it's like you got to try to get it to the cutoff man and throw home and see what happens. I mean, sometimes you get those big outs, so you can get, only one guy to score rather than 2. Next up is Luis Garcia Jr. But at least the bats are, alive for us. So again, if it ends up being a back and forth game, we still have a chance of winning this game. So, excellent pitching yesterday, but lack of hitting. And then the lack of a good bullpen today, great hitting, lack of starting pitching, but maybe the bullpen will be better today. So, you never really know what you're going to get out of this Mariner team, from one game to the next. Pitch fouled off there by Garcia. No balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Garcia. We got the umps in a little meeting here. Bottom of the third, runner at second with 2 outs. 4-3 Seattle. Velasco in the building. What's good? O2 pitch, low and at the knees. Splitter 83 miles an hour there by Miller. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning, 4-3 Seattle. Velasco with a 5er getting us going. Appreciate you. Little dribbler up the middle at first, right to Josh Naylor. Toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. There we go. Finally getting out of this inning. Appreciate you, Velasco, getting us started with a $5 holla. 95 to go. Appreciate you. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. I mean, we already got 3 home runs today. And, again, if we just could have been a little bit better, off that deep hit ball to Randy and that throw to Donovan, if he would have thrown home, immediately to Cal, who knows? Maybe we get that runner out, just like McMahon trying to go from a double to a triple, and we were able to get him. I don't like, players giving up on plays, especially when runners are going home. At least show that you're trying to make plays. And if you throw it home and he ends up being safe, at least it shows the fans and everyone that you did everything in your power to try to get that, second guy out. And maybe the game is 4-2 right now rather than 4-3. But again, normally Donnie doesn't just stop, unless he thought for sure that guy was going to score. But, I want to be able to see the cutoff man, who gets the ball, try to make a play. And I know every fan, obviously watching, wants to see that too. Let's go to the top of the 4th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, catcher in the 8-hole, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting second in the 9-hole, shortstop, Colt Emerson. And batting third, back at the top of the order, DHing today, Taylor Ward. Right ends up. Let's go M's. We're at 5 on the dono train, 95 to go. 44 seconds to go to 24,600. Less than 500 to go to be able to get to 25,000. First pitch takes a strike to big dumper, 0-1 count. And with 183 in the room, we should be getting close to 100. We are at 80, 20 to go. Pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We can get 20 people to smash that like button. We'll be there. 1-1 pitch, high and away, sweeper, 80 miles an hour, 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs, top of the 4th. Not in a pitcher's duel like yesterday, but obviously people are mashing here today. And again, 2-1 pitch, Cal, nice, follow through swing and a big single into right. There we go, Cal. And we'll take that. Nice job there by Cal Raleigh. Nice single into right field. Next up, in the 9-hole, shortstop Colt Emerson. On deck is Taylor Ward. Let him know, Velasco. First pitch fouled off there by Emerson behind the plate, 0-1 count. And again, with Seattle, you just never really know what version of the team is going to show up. But, starting pitching with Wu yesterday was great. But obviously, as we saw, him and Ferrer, Wu and Ferrer were good. But Rucker and Bizzardo had meltdowns. And, the lack of hitting. Randy Serena with a home run, and that was it. And that's unacceptable with the talent that we have on this roster. But then today, Cole Young gets a hit in the first. Randy gets a 2-run jack. Julio gets a solo dinger. Dom gets a solo dinger. And that's what we kind of expect. Maybe not every game, but again, 0 to 3 runs, after a while, it gets a little old real quick, and you want to be able to put up 4 or 5 runs or more to show that you can compete. Because a lot of times, if you're not getting more than 4 or 5 runs, you're going to get blasted, unless you're able to win a 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 game. But we haven't really proven that we can win close games like that this season. 0-2 pitch from Warren to Colt Emerson. Pitch is high and away. Fastball, 91 miles an hour there by Will Warren. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first. Cal Raleigh with a single to right moments ago with no out. 1-2 pitch popped up behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and no outs. Top of the fourth, 4-3 Seattle. One-two pitch, hard hit ball towards first base and foul. I love the sound of the crack of the bat here at Yankee Stadium. You know, there's a big echo, you know, on any hard hit ball here. That makes it sound like, you know, they're using like a metal bat or something of that nature. It doesn't really have the ping of a metal bat. It's more of a crack of the wood, but still it's a little bit more elevated and there's a little bit more of an echo. And obviously you're going to get that for home runs, but also hard hit balls as well. Pitch fouled off and out of play. One-two pitch, big swing and miss. Down goes Colt Emerson. And that is 1 away. Next up is Taylor Ward. Will Warren on the mound. Taylor Ward in the box. On deck is Cole Clutch Young. And Ward with a little dribbler towards third. Double play and dropped. And Jazz Chisholm Jr. drops the ball. Fielder's choice on Cal Raleigh. Ward safe at first. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. Let's see if Cole can give us a little magic here. Home run park factor, number 2. So second easiest ballpark to hit home runs at. Mariners is the number 1 hardest. So there's a big difference here. Come on, Cole. First pitch is high and away. 1-0 count. Pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Warren to Young. Makes you kind of wonder, you know, it's such an easy ballpark to hit home runs at, elevating stats of Giancarlo Stanton and Bellinger and Aaron Judge specifically. It makes you wonder if Aaron Judge played in Seattle, you know, or a ballpark that was hard to hit home runs at, slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is out number 3. You know, instead of hitting, you know, 50, 60 home runs, if he actually had a ballpark that was hard to hit home runs at for half of the games, you know, with the talent that he has, he still would be hitting a lot, you know, but obviously there wouldn't be as many, you know, obviously at another ballpark rather than at Yankee Stadium. So I realized it was easy to hit home runs there, but I did not know it was top 2 in MLB this year. So, all right, let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning and see who's up next year for the Yankees. Next up for the Yankees, 0 for 1 in the 5-hole, left fielder Elliot Ramos. Batting second in the 6-hole, second baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr., 1 for 1 with a run. And batting third, 1 for 1 with an RBI, third baseman Ryan McMahon. Right hands up, let's go M's. $46 subs to go to 24,600. We're at 5 on the Dono train, 95 to go. And we should be getting pretty close to hitting our 100 like number as we go to the bottom of the 4th with a 4-3 Mariner lead. All right, we're at 87. We need 13 people to hit the like button and we'll be there. We got 176 in the room, so if we can get 13 people out of 176, it would be greatly appreciated. It's the dimensions of the stadium. Every ballpark is different. Not every ballpark has the same exact dimensions, and it's the only sport that is true, where it usually is a certain dimension in every basketball court or football field. But again, in baseball, every stadium is different, based on how deep it is to be able to hit home runs in center field, left field, and right field, and the configuration of the stadium. So bottom of the fourth, 4-3 Seattle. Yeah. And even, with Cal with his 60 and Aaron Judge with his record-breaking 62, we know that not all the home runs hit by Cal and by Aaron Judge were at home. Some were obviously on the road. So, but, obviously hitters' ballparks is what you hope for. Obviously, if you're a home run hitter, and obviously the Yankees usually have a lot of those year in and year out. 0-1 pitch, high and away with a sweeper. 83 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike from Miller to Elliot Ramos. One pitch from Miller. Little dribbler up the middle. Young is there. Nice throw to Naylor. And as reliable as they come, one of the best second basemen in the game. Yeah, I know there's Ozzie Albies on the Braves. I know there's Ernie Clement on the Blue Jays, but give me Cole Clutch Young all day, every day. You're looking at the future starting second baseman in the All-Star game for many years to come. Let's go. Next up is Jazz Chisholm Jr. On deck is Ryan McMahon. First pitch is high and away with a sinker, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Miller on the mound, Jazz Chisholm Jr. in the box. And thankfully, the Mariners have hit 3 home runs so far. Otherwise, we'd be down 3-0 right now. So feels good to actually compete against a good team. But again, the game is far from over, and we got to hope, that our bullpen plays well. And I hope we get a chance to see Gabe Spire today, as well as Andres Munoz. But we have to be ahead, obviously, for that to happen. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike with a sinker, 94 miles an hour, 2 balls and 1 strike to Jazz Chisholm Jr. Two-one pitch, fouled off and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jazz Chisholm Jr. Yeah, all of them are different. You can look it up on Google and look up each stadium, and you'll be shocked on the difference, on how deep some of the stadiums are to hit home runs compared to others. Some of them you barely have to hit it and it's gone. And then you could have that same type of hit and it would barely even hit the wall in other places. So, some places it's much, much harder, based on the dimensions. And it's not just the dimensions to center field, it's also the dimensions to left and right, and also, how the stadium is built. And a hard hit ball, deep right field, but thankfully the wind does not carry that out. Dominic Canzone is there. Down goes Jazz, and that is 2 away. Next up is Ryan McMahon for Bryce Miller. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 4th inning, 4-3 Mariners. First pitch from Miller to Ryan McMahon. Takes a strike low, but in the zone. 95 mile an hour sinker, 0-1 count. Big swing and a miss with that splitter right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to McMahon. 0-2 pitch here from Miller. Popped up. And Cole Young is there, and that is out number 3. Nice job there by Cole Clutch Young getting the job done. End of the 4th inning, Mariners still up by a run. Now let's see if we can make up for a couple of those runs that we gave up a few innings ago. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a run, 2 RBIs and a K, and a 2-run jack to get the party started early on. Randy Arozarena batting second, 1 for 2 with a home run. The Italian Stallion, Dominic Canzone. And batting third, 1 for 1 with a home run as well, Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. We're at 5 on the Dono train, 95 to go. Gained another sub moments ago. 45 subs to go to 24,600. Less than 500 subs to go to 25,000. 6.2 to 6.3 million views on the channel. Next goal will be 7 million views, then 8, 9, and 10. And let's see if we've hit that 100 like number. We got 174 in the room. We should be getting real close. And where are we at now? We're at 92. Can we get 8 people to hit the like button out of the 175? And then it should be smooth sailing after that. And once we get over 100, obviously you'll get more recommendations for people that are looking for Mariners, looking for Yankees, or just looking for baseball, not only in the United States and Canada, but Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. When we get 8 people to hit that like button, that would be greatly appreciated. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio for this legend and icon. He's retiring after this season, so we dedicate every stream to the one and the only Rick Riz. We love you. All right, Mariner Moose, let's see if we get the offense going here. Let's go, Randy. Let's go, Julio. Let's go, Dom. First pitch high and inside with a sinker, 91 miles an hour there from Will Warren to Randy Arozarena. 1-0 count. Realistically, it's going to be hard to make the playoffs based on how bad we've played. But again, the season's not over yet, and we got the hardest schedule in August that I can remember. So again, if somehow, some way, if we can stay afloat in August and we kill it in September and play real well, we'll have a chance, because we'll see what happens with the Astros and the Rangers, if they have any injuries or if they start to slump. So, obviously we probably won't be able to catch up to the White Sox or the Red Sox or, the Rays or the Yankees, but all we got to do is try to win the division or get one of the wild card spots. But again, based on how we played lately, it's going to be very challenging. Not impossible, but, just trying to keep it 100. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. But again, you never know. All it takes is, a couple games, that are kind of springboard wins, and then you can get on a hot streak. But again, with all the injuries and poor managing that we've had and lack of an effective bullpen, as well as lack of consistent hitting, it's going to be really hard to make it this year. This is not the same team as last season. 2-2 pitch. Popped up and out of play. We have probably a higher chance of not making it than making it. But again, until that day comes, there's still a chance. It's like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying we got a chance, and it's not over till it's over, but it's going to be hard. 2-2 pitch and fouled off towards third base and out of play. But if somehow, some way we can overachieve in August and play well in September, then yeah, we might have a chance for a wild card spot or to win the division. But if we play like we've been playing for a majority the last few months in August, and and we do really bad, and then obviously do really well in September, it still may not be enough. So we got to find a way to tread water, and we got to stay afloat, but then also we have to be able to upset some of the playoff teams and also teams that we struggle with, Astros and Blue Jays, and then, playing teams like, the Phillies and the Brewers and the Cubs and the Red Sox. It's going to be very difficult. Pitch popped up and out of play. Count still full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Top of the 5th, 4-3 Seattle. 3-2 pitch, and Randy fouls that one off himself. Three home runs today, 2-run jack by Randy, solo dingers by Julio and Dom. And we got a 1-run lead, but the game is far from over. But I feel good scoring 4. Obviously we score usually 0-3 this season. So anytime we get over 4, we're going to have a chance. But it's really going to be up to, Bryce Miller and the bullpen. We had a really good start out of Wu yesterday. But again, even though him and Ferrer left the game at 1-0, you can't expect to win scoring only 1 run. So, and this is going to be pitch number 12 here by Warren. And that pitch ends up going behind the backstop, and Randy taking a walk on pitch 12. Way to get the pitch count up. What a patient at bat there by Randy. Good at bat there by Randy Arozarena. Next up is Dominic Canzone. On deck is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, Dom. See if we get another Dom bomb out of you. Trident's up. And it looks like Will Warren's day is done. They're pulling him. All right, Cruz is coming in. Fernando Cruz. All right, Fernando Cruz coming in. And let's see if Dominic Canzone can have a little bit of luck on him. All right, let's look at Will Warren's final line. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 Ks, 81 pitches, 51 strikes with a 4.35 ERA. And it's been a long time since we've been able to rough up a pitcher, it feels like. And again, the game is far from over, but the Mariner offense definitely doing the job. You would have hoped that Bryce would have been a little bit better today. But again, at the moment, he's probably our 5th pitcher in our starting 5. He used to be our number 1, but right now it goes Logan Gilbert 1, George Kirby 2, Brian Wu 3, Emerson Hancock 4, and Bryce Miller 5. So essentially Bryce Miller is the new Luis Castillo, and again, we know he's better than Castillo, but essentially that's kind of how he has pitched after starting off really strong, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, and then he's dropped, his last 4 or 5 starts. So, hopefully we get Bryce back to being where he was at the beginning, but we'll see. First pitch to Dominic Canzone with the splitter right down the middle, 79 miles an hour. 0-1 count. And 0-1 pitch popped up. And McMahon is there at third, a very reliable defender, and that is 1 away. Next up for Fernando Cruz is Julio Rodriguez. Come on, Julio. First pitch to Rodriguez is low and away. Splitter 73 miles an hour. 79 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Next home run for Julio is number 20. One-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Pitch, almost hitting Julio in the stomach. And I almost had flashbacks there of the Tigers hitting Cal in the stomach. Thankfully, Julio was able to kind of contort his body and move out of the way. The last thing that we need is Julio to get hit by a ball and then to miss time. 3 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez, and this feels like a walk. 3-0 pitch. There we go. 4-pitch walk to Julio Rodriguez. And I'm happy to see some of our aggressive hitters, taking walks. Randy and Julio, not really known for walks, and we've been able to see some walks for those 2 guys already. I love it. Next up is Josh Naylor. Welcome back. You had wrist soreness, and let's see if Naylor can get a home run or get a big RBI. And then on deck is Brandon Donovan. And I know it stinks, watching such a talented team lose games. But again, I haven't been this excited for a roster on the Mariners in a long, long time. I mean, the last 2 years, we've been able to build a roster, comparable to the 2001 team. Of course, we're not going to win anywhere near, 115 to 120 games, but again, just based off talent, these last 2 years, it's been a while. It's been a minute. We've been able to finally construct a pretty damn good roster, even though we've underachieved this year. And we got some amazing talent in the farm that will be coming up in the next year or two also to make this team better. Our first round draft pick ace that can play third base, first base, or outfield. Lazaro Montes playing right field. Obviously, Arroyo playing second, but he can play other spots. Kate Anderson and Ryan Sloan as pitchers. It's going to be very exciting. Naylor with a little dribbler up the middle. Go, go, go. And Randy's going to come home. Bang, baby. Let's go. Big RBI by Josh Naylor. 5-3 M's. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The importance of having our guys play. And again, not having JP and Luke Raley, it's killed us. And again, it's great to have, Naylor back. We can't have, these Weston Wilson, Connor Joe, Rob Refsnyder types. We need to be able to have our best fucking players play. But unfortunately, the injuries have been brutal for us this year. And we've had to have fill-in talent, but once we can have, our strong starting 1 through 9, again, great to be able to see the offense do what we always knew they could do, score 5 runs, and again, we're not done. We got runners at first and second with 1 out, and this might be a game where we get 8 to 10 runs. I mean, we're pacing for it. Right now, we're in the 5th and we're at 5. We're pacing for 8 to 10. Even with Miller not pitching fantastic, still the offense is, kind of pulling up and, picking up the slack, so to speak. Let's go, baby. Griffey loves it. Next up is Brandon Donovan. Let's go, Donnie. And again, missing Donnie for the whole season, roughly, really hurt us. Besides Brash, Criswell, and Vargas, if we didn't have those 3 bullpen pitchers out and Donnie plays the whole year, I guarantee we're not in this position right now. We have probably 5 to 12 more wins than what we have right now. And again, when you miss your starting third baseman, tough. When you have injuries to every player, on the team, except for maybe Cole Young or Colt Emerson in the starting 9, tough. And then having 3 guys, that are starters in the pen replaced by AAA guys that you can't really rely on, tough, and again, I hope that we don't have that issue next season, and it shows you how important the bullpen is and how important, it is to be able to have a significant starter play for a majority of the year. I mean, you got to remember, Donnie was batting 300, 350 before he got hurt, and again, I don't think that he would be batting necessarily over 300 the whole time, but I think, he might have dipped down to the 250, 260 range at one point, mini slump. But I think for a majority, 270 to 300 would have been very attainable for Donnie if he would have been able to keep going, and again, he would have been able to give us better defense at third, and he would have been able to drive in some runs and get some unexpected home runs as well. So, injuries definitely hurt us this season, but hopefully we can kind of, rally, together here the best that we can. Now they're having the pitcher with a few warm-up pitches here. Looks like he might have hurt himself. But look at the wild card: Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers, Tigers, Twins, Guardians, Blue Jays, Orioles, and then there's the Mariners, 4 games back. So, but again, 4 games back can be, turned around pretty quick, depending on if you can actually sweep a few teams or win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, right? All right, looks like we have another pitching change. All right, Hill is coming in. All right, Tim Hill is coming in. Hill is a lefty kind of sidearm approach. All right, so that was a very, very quick start there for Fernando Cruz after coming in for Will Warren having a meltdown today. And now we're going to have Tim Hill. And obviously just looking at this photo, I can only imagine, how difficult it's going to be able to get hits off someone that pitches like this. But, he does have a 4.40 ERA, so we'll see if we can rough him up a little bit here. And we got runners at first and second for Donnie. And if Donnie can come up with a big hit here, it could really open the game up the way that we need it to be. And then on deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And then if we can get to him in this inning, Colt Emerson. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, Mariner Moose, we need all the help that we can get. First pitch from Tim Hill to Brendan Donovan, low and out the knees, 1-0 count. Now, one thing about Hill, he will be a little wild trying to paint the corners. So if we can be patient, good things can happen. But that's the question. Can we be patient? And a little ground ball, double play. And just like that, inning over. And we needed Donnie to be patient there. Get to pitch 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, gets a little overly aggressive and then hits into an easy double play. And that is the end of the inning for Seattle. Appreciate you, Velasco. We're at 5 on the Dono train because of Velasco. 95 to go. See if we get a few other people to help out with me and Paisley as well. And let's see who's up next year for the Yankees as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Next up, 1 for 1 with a run, catcher Austin Wells. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, shortstop George Lombard Jr. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder Trent Grisham. And let's look at Bryce's numbers. He's at 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 63 pitches, 44 strikes. So he could still go for a few more innings as long as he doesn't give up any more runs, but we'll see. $45 subs to go to 24,600. Less than 500 to go to 25,000, which will be a special day. And we should be over 100 likes now. We're going to the bottom of the 5th. And let's see where we're at. 184 in the room. And we're at 109. Thank you so much. And again, it should be smooth sailing with the likes here moving forward. It's always just about getting those first 100. And then, you're able to go kind of, pretty smooth from that point moving forward. All right, 91 more to go to 200. Appreciate you. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Bryce Miller on the mound. Austin Wells in the box. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like we only have 1 or 2 good players, on the team. It's like I get excited watching this team every day, no matter how good or bad that we do, just because of the talent we have. And I'll get even more excited once we get Lazaro Montes and Michael Arroyo and Kate Anderson and Ryan Sloan on the team. Like I said, I follow the farm very closely, and as well as our first round draft pick Ace at 3rd. Once we start getting some of the young bloods up, it's going to be super exciting, to kind of see how this team looks, and depending on who they keep and who they move on from next season. And that is 1 away. Next up is George Lombard Jr. First pitch from Miller to Lombard Jr. He goes for a bunt attempt, but pulls back, and that takes a strike looking with that sinker. 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And again, we're not going to be able to cash in on every opportunity with runners in scoring position, but we have to be happy that we're at 5. It feels like it's, 1 out of every 10 or 15 games we get above 5. And last season we would get to 5 pretty often. But again, we had a lot of other things going our way, not only Cal with a historic season, but not a whole lot of injuries. And that was a big part of it too. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to George Lombard Jr. One-two pitch. And a hard hit ball into shallow right. Dom is there, and that is 2 away. Next up is Trent Grisham. Yeah, I'm a huge football guy, so I watch a lot, not only with like the Ducks and the Huskies, but I'll watch Cougs and Beavers. I'll watch all the top tier teams like, Ohio State and, Michigan and Bama and Georgia. I watch usually about 3, 4, or 5 full college football games on Saturday, and then throughout the week if they have anything early on Thursday or Friday. And then I usually watch 3 or 4 full football games on Sunday for the NFL, not including Monday night and Thursday night. Back, and gone. And Bryce Miller gives up a big home run to Trent Grisham. And just like that, 5-4 Mariners. And we may have to pull Bryce Miller. But again, our bullpen isn't very good. So it's like you pull Bryce Miller, you might have someone do the same thing that Bryce is doing. I mean, unless you can have Gabe Spire pitch, more than 1 inning. But usually they only have him pitch 1. And Miller gives up a big home run to Trent Grisham, a no-doubter, 364 feet into right, 5-4 Mariners. And again, if we didn't hit 3 home runs today, we would definitely be down 4-0 or 4-1 right now. So again, we just have to keep pace with this talented Yankee team. Next up is Ben Rice. On deck is Spencer Jones. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Kind of a completely different game than yesterday. Wu lights out, for 5-6 innings. And then we had Ferrer come in with a 1-0 lead. Rucker and Bizzardo came in and blew the game, but a hard hit ball into right and fair. Get it, Dom. Get it, Dom. And he's going for 2 and sliding in safe. And now the Yankee crowd is getting into it. And now they have a runner at second with 2 outs and are threatening to tie this game up or to take the lead. Got to get this last out here. Bryce having a little bit of a mini meltdown. Happy early birthday, Jace. But again, it's always one thing or another. Great starting pitching, horrible bullpen. Great hitting, 3-error game on the defense, And a hard hit ball all the way back to the wall. And that's going to score another run. Got to get him out now. Got to pull Bryce Miller, and another double by the Yankees. The game is tied 5-5. Got to pull him now. He can't get this last out. You got to pull him. And the thing is like, again, I know they don't like, playing Gabe more than 1 inning, but in a game like this, we might need Gabe to not only get this last out, but, maybe pitch in the 6th or the 7th. But, knowing Dan Wilson, he probably won't do that. I mean, I don't trust Bizzardo. I don't really trust Ferrer, even though he did good yesterday. Gabe sometimes is good, sometimes not. And then you got guys like Rucker and Davila that sometimes are good, but sometimes aren't. And then you got Mooney as the closer. But, I mean, we need Brash, Criswell, and Vargas. And, again, not having access to those 3 guys for months has cost us at least 15 or 20 games, if not more. Miller having a meltdown. First pitch takes a strike, looking high and away, 0-1 count. I mean, it would be an easier decision to take him out early before his pitch count gets to 90 or above. But again, our bullpen stinks. We don't really have reliable guys in the bullpen. So it's like if you pull him, the same thing is probably going to happen, if not worse, for most of our guys that come in, unfortunately. But at least the offense is raking, so we might be able to make up for it. And a little line drive. Cole Young is there, and he'll get the out. Finally, Cole Young gets out number 3 to Josh Naylor. But again, I don't think I want to see Bryce Miller in the 6th inning, after what happened there. Let's see where he's at pitch count-wise. He's at 75. So again, realistically, Bryce will go 1 more inning. But if he does, how many runs are we going to be down? So hopefully we can actually get a run or 2 here. So if Bryce ends up pitching another half inning, that if we score a run or 2 and it's 6-5 or 7-5, then maybe the score will be 6-6 or 7-7. But we got to score some runs here just in case, because I doubt that Bryce will get pulled. All right, next up, 1 for 1 with a walk. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. I wouldn't mind a home run, Cal. Let's get it. Batting second, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, Colt Emerson. Be patient in the box. Let the game come to you. Get to pitch 4, 5, 6, and I trust you. Trust me, good things will happen. And batting third, 0 for 3, DHing Taylor Ward. Should not be the leadoff hitter. Hello, Dan Wilson. Should be batting in the 7 or the 8 hole. But again, Dan doesn't really know how to make a lineup. All right, 45 likes to go to 24,600. We're at 5 on the dono train, 95 to go. And we're at 118 likes, 82 to 200. End of the 5th inning, we're tied at 5. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's go, Mariners. Let's go, Mariner Moose. And again, Bryce is our 5 now. It's crazy, how good Bryce was at the beginning of the year as our number 1, but he's our 5 now. And I don't think that anyone anticipated that happening. Hancock's our 4. Woo is right there battling Kirby for 2. Woo at 3, Kirby at 2, and Gilbert at 1. And that's normally how it is. Besides Woo last year taking over and being the number 1 guy before he got hurt. But normally it is Gilbert, Kirby, Woo for our top 3 guys. And then Miller and Hancock are, on the back end with Castillo. And obviously we got rid of Castillo and he'll be on the White Sox now trying to help them out. But again, Cade Anderson, piggybacking and maybe even taking over a spot in the near future seems like a real possibility. 1-1 pitch incoming here to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Yeah, I saw that. I do a lot of reading, again, that's all I do. I do a lot of reading and a lot of film study. I do a lot of exercising and spending time with Paisley, but usually I do a lot of, I would say 2 to 3 hours of reading and maybe 1 to 2 hours of film, on most days, not just baseball, but anything that's going on, if it's NFL or college football or the NBA or the NHL, or if it's NASCAR Cup Series or, something important that I need to keep tabs on, WWE or AEW or whatever it is. So pitch is low and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Yeah, sold twice in the last couple years. Not surprised. And 3-1 outside. Good take by Cal, and that's a walk. Here we go. And that's a good at-bat for Cal Raleigh. And they showed an Etsy Witch in the crowd with the witch hat there with the Trident Mariner logo. Next up is Colt Emerson. Etsy Witch did wonders for us last year. I'm not sure about this year, though. And we got Emerson in the box, Ward on deck. And I decided to go with like an old school photo of Ward instead of him in the Oriole uniform. Still waiting for the photographers to take a good photo of Ward in a Mariner uniform, and there still isn't a good one yet. First pitch is high and inside, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, check swing, and he goes around. 1 ball and 1 strike to Colt Emerson. Yeah, all we need is to be able to sweep a few teams or win 2 out of 3, on a few of the teams that, we may normally get swept by, especially when we're playing, really tough teams. Astros and Blue Jays play us tough regardless of record. And then Brewers and Cubs and Phillies and Red Sox, those are playoff teams, and those are teams that could sweep us. So we have to be able to put our best foot forward. And, again, we have to play like this. Obviously better pitching you would hope for than what Bryce Miller has shown, but the hitting, if we're going to have a battle of hitting, again, it's not going to be a pitcher's duel every game. And a lot of times when we have a pitcher's duel, the offense doesn't do their job. And I felt bad for Woo. Woo normally gives up 6 runs on the road and gave up none. And that's what we did for him yesterday. Put up 1 run by Randy with a solo dinger. That hurts, especially when someone's been so bad on the road and won't get the credit that he deserves because we lost the game. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Colt. And that is 1 away. Barb in the building. What's good? Next up is Taylor Ward. On deck is Cole Clutch Young. Top of the 6th inning. 5-5 Mariners and Yankees. And it's much better as far as us Mariner fans that we're at a 5-5 game. In most cases, we're down 5-0 and we're feeling sorry for ourselves. So, and now we got another pitching change. And now Blackburn is coming in. Yankees are on their 4th pitcher. We're still on Bryce Miller. Paul Blackburn coming in. All right, Tim Hill is out after just pitching 1 inning, giving up a walk and getting a K, 13 pitches, 7 strikes. And now we're going to end up getting Paul Blackburn in. And this is one of the first times that, that we're on ESPN or Apple TV and we're not getting blasted. Almost every national broadcast that's been global, we've gotten destroyed. I've been keeping track. I would remember, and we're finally playing well for once on national TV, which, obviously this season has not gone the way that we thought. And, again, it feels good, but again, the game is far from over, but at least we're competing, with a top 2 team in the American League. And again, we know the Rays have the best chance to represent the American League to play the Dodgers in the World Series, but the Yankees are the second best team. And ball is bobbled. Let's go. And a couple bobbles here today and a couple mistakes by the Yankee defense is keeping this game alive. Now we got runners at first and second with 1 out. There we go. And again, we've seen a pop-up and 2 Yankees watch it drop. We've seen a couple bobbles by the infield trying to make big plays for big outs. And obviously, we'll take any kind of mistakes that we can get. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. Let's go, Cole. On deck is Randy Arozarena. Cole's due for a home run. First pitch is low and away. Sinker, 93 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Jacob with a tour. Appreciate you. And Young pops it up. And that is 2 away. We're still injured. I mean, we still got J.P. Crawford out. We have Luke Raley out for the year, and he was one of our top 4 home run guys and RBI guys. And then we still don't have 3 guys in our bullpen that have been out either the whole year, Carlos Vargas, or 2 guys that have been out months, Brash and Criswell. So we're nowhere near being 100%. We still got 5 guys out. So, but there was a point where we had 8, 9 guys out, that were starters or contributors. So we've gotten some of the guys back, like Brandon Donovan, and we got Naylor back today that was out for a game, but we're far from being 100%. Oh, 1 pitch to Randy, little dribbler up the middle, and throw to first, and that is out number 3. 2 get stranded there after the 4th pitching change by the Yankees, but at least we're competitive today. Based on how we've played this year, we easily could be down 5-0, 5-1, but we do have 3 home runs today. One by Randy Arozarena, who had a single by Cole Young to make it a 2-run jack. That got the party started. Then Julio Rodriguez said, hey, I want to join the home run party with Randy. He hits a solo dinger. And then we even get one out of the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. But again, Miller has not pitched well. And again, if he pitched well, maybe we're up 5-2 right now. But unfortunately, he has not. And the Yankees have a lot of talent, even with no Judge, Stanton, and Bellinger. And again, we just got to do our best to find a way to win this game, even if it's only by a run. Even if we only win 6-5 or 7-6, no Mariner fan is going to care. We just need a win. Next up for the Yankees, 0 for 2, left fielder Elliot Ramos. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run, second baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. And batting third, 1 for 2 with an RBI, the former Rocky, Ryan McMahon. Tried ends up, let's go M's. We're at 7 on the Dono train, 93 to go. 45 subs to go to 24,600. We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning with a 5-5 tie. And we're at 122 likes, 78 to 200. Nobody's going to know that question. Brett? Omar Vizquel. 1-1 pitch. Takes a strike swinging. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Miller to Ramos. Bottom of the 6th inning, 5-5, Mariners and Yankees. Got to find a way to win this game. Started off with a sinker and then a sweeper and then a splitter. This will be Miller's last inning, and we just got to pray that he doesn't give up anything in this particular inning. One-two pitch. Big swing and a miss. There we go. Down goes Ramos, and that is 1 away. Next up is Jazz Chisholm Jr. and then Ryan McMahon. First pitch from Miller to Chisholm. Hard hit ball, line drive, and whoa, deflection that goes up from the 10th row to the 30th row, and a great souvenir for a fan there in Yankee Stadium. Got to keep your head on a swivel. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jazz Chisholm Jr. 985, bud. One pitch from Miller to Chisholm. Hard hit ball, deep right field, and that goes into the upper deck. And another deflection for a foul ball. Keep your head on a swivel when Jazz is up. You might get a foul ball in Yankee Stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 6th, 5-5, Mariners and Yankees. We got Gabe Spire warming up in the pen, so that's a good thing. After the 3-game suspension, but should have never been suspended for that many games. Should have been a 1-game suspension or none. Pitch fouled off and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Miller to Chisholm. Hey, people got questions. I got the answers. Pitch is low and at the knees. Did he go around? No, he did not. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Chisholm. And he definitely went around. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Jazz. Let's go. And that is 2 away. He did go around. Down goes Jazz Chisholm. Finally, you're starting to see Miller, gain a little confidence here late. Next up is Ryan McMahon. They're very rare. Again, on eBay, they have one that's going for over 150. They're a very rare item on the team store or on eBay. But with this particular one that came out a couple years ago, it actually wasn't a cutoff. I cut the sleeves off of it, because again, I didn't want to pay 150, to get the one on eBay. So I said, well, I've already worn this hoodie for a couple years, and I'm the type of person that likes to have my arms and legs, exposed and whatnot. I like wearing cutoff tees. I like wearing shorts. I don't really like wearing long pants, and I'd rather wear a cutoff tee rather than a t-shirt. And so I figured, you know what? I think it's time, if I'm not going to spend 150 to 170 on a, purchase on eBay for one that's similar to this, but I think the design on this one, as far as the graphics, are better than the one that's on eBay. And I decided just to cut them off. Hard hit ball hits the wall. And Canzone gets it, and he's going for 2. Got him! What a throw! Dominic Canzone with a big throw from right field. Got Ryan McMahon, and McMahon has been caught at 3rd and 2nd today. Bryce Miller, let's go. Good defense overall. We've seen Donnie make some plays and Canzone in the outfield making some plays. And again, McMahon has been trying to stretch a single into a double into a triple, and we've caught him twice. And good job by Bryce Miller by not giving up any runs. And the end of his run, the game is still tied at 5. Let's go to the top of the 7th inning, and let's take the lead. All right, Mariner Moose, you know what to do, baby. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a home run. It's the Italian Stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a run, RBI, and 2 walks. It's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Both individuals have home runs already. And batting third, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. First baseman Josh Naylor missed yesterday's game to wrist soreness, and he is back. Let's go, baby. Let's win this game. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Gained another sub during the commercial break. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 44 subs to go to 24,600. We're at 7 on the Dono train, 93 to go. See if we get a few more individuals to help out for me and Paisley. And let's see where we're at on the likes, how close we are to 200. We are at 127, 73 to go. Shout out to our female audience, our regulars, our mods, and everyone watching. New subs as well. People watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. And I don't know why they don't make more of them, but I feel like sleeveless hoodies should be a common thing. For whatever your favorite team is in the NHL, the NFL, NBA, or in MLB, I feel like, this should be something that is more available rather than a typical sweatshirt. I think that they should have options for a regular sweatshirt and a cutoff version. Maybe not for every, one that's out there, but they look good when they're cut off. I got a Cal Raleigh hoodie that I might cut the sleeves off as well, but I'll probably, wear it and, a little bit before I do that. Line drive to Jazz, and that's caught. And unfortunate play there. Dom gets caught by Jazz Chisholm in the right place in the right time, and that is 1 up and 1 down. The thing is, though, is if you cut it wrong, you can ruin your clothes. So you have to be very careful. It's not like even when you end up having a t-shirt that you try to make a cutoff tee to, again, if you cut it wrong, your shirt's ruined. And if you cut a hoodie wrong, that could be a $75 to $150 hoodie down the drain. So, and a little slow hopper to Julio towards third, throw to first, and that is 2 away. Some people are a little bit better at it, making those adjustments. But again, you got to be kind of careful. You don't want to ruin your clothes, I want to say Charles Woodson. There you go. Little dribbler towards first base and out of play. Me and Barber on it. We're not dummies here. They don't call us fanatics for nothing. I mean, you got to think, I've been watching sports and wrestling since I was 3. I'm 44, so I'm not going to know the answer to every question, but, there's a lot that I've seen over the time that I've been alive. And pitches way outside to Josh Naylor, and that ends up being a walk to Josh. Nice job there by Josh Naylor. And obviously Woodson playing his ball at Michigan, as we all know. All right, next up is Brendan Donovan with a runner at first with 2 outs. On deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We could definitely use one more home run, or 2 if we can get it before this game is over. That could be the difference between us winning this game or not. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with like Reggie White, Sometimes you got to be able to pick up, a player from another team to be able to get your team over the hump. And sometimes you get a really good player on another team and that propels you to a championship. First pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Sinker, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brendan Donovan. One pitch, big swing and a miss there by Donnie. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. Yankee fans are doing the wave there. 1-2 pitch. And Donnie pops it up and out of play. And throw to first, and Naylor gets caught. And that is out number 3. All right, I got to see what Paisley's barking about. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next here for the Yankees. Had to get Paisley a snack. Next up for the Yankees in the bottom of the 7th, 1 for 2 with a run, Austin Wells. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K in the 9-hole, shortstop George Lombard Jr. Batting third, 1 for 3 with a home run, Trent Grisham. And Miller is at 89 pitches. I'm curious to see who's coming in. I would assume Gabe Spire, since we haven't seen him a lot since the suspension, so. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, Spire is coming in. All right, Gabe. We need a good performance out of you. And again, they don't typically have Gabe go more than 1 inning, but hopefully he'll be clean. And again, we just need the bats to come alive in the last 2 innings, and we can win this game 6-5 or 7-6. Let's go. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio for this legend and icon. He's retiring after this season, so we dedicate every stream to the one and the only Rick Riz. We love you. Let's go, baby. Very fun, competitive game here tonight. Just wish Miller would have pitched a little bit better, but again, this isn't the Miller that was our number 1 earlier in the year. He's slid all the way down to 5 now. So again, if we would have been able to get a typical, early year performance out of Miller, we would be up 5-0 or 5-1 or 5-2, but unfortunately has been getting roughed up in the last month or so. And at least that the bats have come alive to give us a chance tonight. All right, a Rosario coming in to pinch hit. All right, Ahmed Rosario coming in. And first pitch from Spire to Rosario, fouls that one off, out of play. 95-mile-an-hour sinker, 0-1 count. And popped up into left. Randy is there, and that is 1 away. Yeah, there's a lot of games that we would have to win if we're going to make it. We are really far behind, and again, if we can win this game, it could be a springboard win, but again, we got to be able to take it 1 game at a time. We definitely have a very difficult schedule in August. It gets a lot easier in September, but again, we can't be 15, 20 games below 500 when we get to September, because even if we end up being amazing in September, it just won't be enough. We'll be too far back. So we got to make sure that we're winning some games against these really good teams. And a hard hit ball right up the middle, and a 5 hopper right in front of Julio. And that turns into a single there for Lombard. All right, George Lombard Jr. with a single up the middle. We could really use a double play. I haven't asked for one all game. And if we can get a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play, that would be great. Trent Grisham up next. On deck is Ben Rice. Come on, Gabe. First pitch right down the middle with a 95-mile-an-hour sinker. 0-1 count. Come on, Spire. Bust out the Mariner bat. Hopefully that'll give us some luck in these last 2 innings. And a little blooper, and it drops. Hell. And Julio gets it, and the runner is coming home. Throw! And the Yankees take the lead. Gabe Spire giving up back-to-back big hits, and just like that, 6-5 New York. And again, Gabe might be our best guy, in the bullpen, and even our best guys struggle. Our bullpen is terrible this year. Can't trust Bizzardo, can't trust Spire, can't trust Ferrer, and then you got AAA guys and Davila and obviously Rucker that aren't really that trustworthy. And really, the only guy that we can trust is Andres Munoz, and he doesn't pitch every day. Brutal. We needed Gabe to be good here, but obviously after a 3-game suspension, he's rusty. First pitch is fouled off, 0-1 count. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. Prefontaine was pretty fucking amazing. But we've had a lot. pitches inside with the sinker. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ben Rice. And again, the offense has put up 5, but now we're going to have them put up a couple if we want to win this game. And pressure is on, but at least we're not down 6-0 or 6-1. At least we have a chance. And we haven't been able to say that in a lot of games lately. And a hit up the middle. And that gets through. And another run scores. Come on! Gabe Spire having a meltdown just like Bizzardo and Rucker yesterday. I'm sick of this bullpen. Shows you, Brash, Criswell, Vargas, come back. And I better not see the Mariners sign, Connor Joe, Rob Refsnyder, Mitch Garver types. You better be grabbing pitching in the offseason, even though we might be going into a strike. It's just stupid to pick up players that are backups to other. We need pitching. And Emerson misreading the play. And just like that, now we're down by 2 runs. The Yankees are a good team. They're the second best team in the American League, and they're doing this with no Judge, no Bellinger, and no Giancarlo Stanton. They may not be the Tampa Bay Rays, but they're the closest thing to them. And he hits the next batter. What is he doing? Golly, we thought Bizzardo was bad. Gabe, what are you doing? Now we have nobody we can trust in the bullpen besides Andres Munoz, and we don't even get to see him very often, like once a week. Getting the shirt there. Next up is Luis Garcia Jr. Thanks a lot, Gabe. In a game that we had a chance to possibly win with 3 home runs, the bullpen blows another game like they did last night. You stink, Gabe. Can't trust Gabe Spire. Can't trust Jose Ferrer. Can't trust Edward Bizzardo. Can't trust Rucker. Can't trust Davila. Got rid of Hoppy. Runner ends up going to third and safe. Strong throw from Cal Raleigh to Brandon Donovan, but not enough. And again, we needed Bryce Miller to pitch better, because again, you just know the Yankees have the ability to score 5 to 15 runs in almost every game. They may not be the Dodgers, but they're the American League equivalent with the Rays this year. The Rays are obviously closer to the Dodger level, as we know, but this Yankee team, with no Judge, no Giancarlo Stanton, no Bellinger, right? Still 15 games above 500. If we had no Julio, no Cole Young, and no Randy, we would be 15 games below 500. So I'm sick and tired of the pitching just shitting the bed, man. It's just brutal. It's either one thing or another, Starting pitcher does great, Brian Wu yesterday. Bullpen blows it. Oh, the hitters get 3 home runs. Dom, Julio, and Randy. And then they can't get the job done in the bullpen here today. It's like, can we just get the bullpen to play well for once? Two-two pitch. Big swing and a miss. About damn time. Yeah, the only problem is they're probably not going to get rid of Dipoto or Wilson. Even if we don't make the playoffs, they're probably not going to get rid of either one. Now Ramos is being intentionally walked, even though he can't get a hit with his life dependent on it. And now we're going to go to Jazz Chisholm Jr. Now let's see if this ends up working out in our favor or not. Knowing our luck, Jazz will hit a grand slam, and then all of a sudden we'll be down 11-5. We still got a chance based on how good our hitting has been today, but again, Miller, not good today. Spire, terrible. And again, our hitters have done a great job today, but again, 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits usually will lead to a win if the pitching is decent. And unfortunately, the pitching was not decent today. First pitch is a ball. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike with a sinker, 93 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Spire to Jazz Chisholm Jr. It's crazy. I'd rather have Scott Service managing this team than Dan Wilson. And I thought I would never say that ever in my life, but they're essentially the same, but I'd rather go with Scott than Dan. And that's not a really, that doesn't really give you a whole lot of hope, but there's got to be a manager out there that can be better than Scott and Dan. I'm waiting for it. And obviously Dipoto has proven over 10, 11 years, he can't get free agents. He might be able to draft well, but he can't pick up anybody in the offseason that's worth a damn more times than not. Sometimes we can get someone with a trade, like Dom and Luke Raley that work out. But as far as getting guys in the offseason and paying them, he's terrible. Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco panned out in his second year. Rob Refsnyder, Connor Joe, that's a disaster. I mean, some guys know how to, develop talent and draft guys well, but you got to be able to pick up guys in the offseason, and Dipoto's fucking terrible at that. 2-2 pitch. Popped up and out of play. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Man, it's always just one thing or another, It's one thing if it happens when we're balling like last season, but we can't afford mistakes in a season like this in 2026. Every mistake gets magnified times 1,000. And pitches popped up and out of play. It's like impossible for us to have a game where we hit well, play defense, and have no errors, and the starting pitching and bullpen do their job. It's always 1 or 2 holes out of those 4 categories. It's never 4 out of 4. It's always 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4. Sometimes we get 3 out of 4, but almost never 4 out of 4. And that pitch is low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jazz Chisholm Jr. This is a game that we should have won. Three-two pitch, and we walk Jazz Chisholm Jr., and the runner comes home from third. You stink, Dan Wilson. Good job, Gabe Spire, you idiot. And I thought Edward Bizardo was bad. And it shows you how important the bullpen is. It's going to win you or lose you more games, and we've probably dropped, 40 games because of our bullpen. They're fucking terrible. And even though our bullpen and our starting pitching at times will be ranked in the top 10, sometimes even as high as top 5 or top 6, but again, the guys that we're supposed to trust, Spire, Bizardo, Ferrer, they're just not trustworthy. And then you got the AAA guys that can't be trusted either. I mean, this is absolutely the worst season to have Brash, Criswell, and Vargas not being able to be available. And it's not to say that those guys wouldn't be great. Sometimes those guys would fuck up as well, but I'd rather have those guys help us, rather than having to, watch this mediocrity and below average baseball. And now a 5-5 game that we should have won. Now we're down 8-5 with bases loaded and 2 outs. Dan Wilson. And now we're going to bring in Sir Anthony Dominguez. I don't know if that's going to work out. And Eliot Ramos was like 2 for 24, like no RBIs, no home runs, pitch to him. But at this point, no matter who Spire pitched to, probably was going to give up something even to a guy like Ramos, who's having a slump after getting picked up at the deadline, from the Giants. So, but, again, I just don't think Dan Wilson has very good baseball IQ. It just seems like he's always making the goddamn wrong move. And obviously it's up to some of these players to step up and do their job. And a lot of times it just feels like Dan is making the wrong decision. And then also, when he does make the right decision, the guy usually doesn't end up, doing his job. Like today here with Gabe Spire, and yesterday with Bizzardo and Rucker. I mean, Bizzardo has had a meltdown 7 out of the last 9, so it's like I don't even want to see him play. I mean, Brash, Criswell, and Vargas cannot get back to this team soon enough. I'm sick and tired of losing this way. Hopefully they'll fire Dan and Dipoto, but highly doubt it. But I hope that it happens. But really, the only way that it happens is that if we don't make the playoffs this year. And even if we don't make the playoffs, it's not like we're going to get rid of both. We probably would only get rid of Dan. Dipoto probably would still keep his job, but it would be nice to get rid of both at the same time. All right, Sir Anthony Dominguez, 0-1 pitch, and a little dribbler, and a flip back to Dominguez, and finally we get out number 3. But instead of the game being tied, now we're down by 3 with 2 innings to go. No, I don't think it's a hangover from last year. I think it's just injuries and poor managing and poor play. Our players are underachieving. Really the only bright spot this year is Cole Young. And other than that, everyone else has been kind of a letdown. I mean, Dom has been better. Luke has been better than expected. Hancock and Miller were better than expected early on, but they're not doing that great lately. Bullpen has been some trash. Mooney was trash at the beginning of the year, but is better now. It's just been a complete nightmare, from the beginning of the year till now, and not having access to Donovan for almost the whole year, that didn't help either. All right, let's see if we can end up making a miraculous comeback here. Next up, 1-for-1 with 2 walks. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. The only way we're going to come back is if we end up hitting a 2-run jack or a 3-run bomb. And we already have 3 home runs, but we're going to need a 4th if we're going to have a chance today. Batting second in the 9-hole, shortstop Colt Emerson. And back at the top of the order, leadoff hitter DHing Taylor Ward, who should never be leading off. It should be Cole Young. But again, Dan Wilson is a moron. Top of the 8th inning, 8-5 New York. I mean, no matter how bad the Mariners are doing, I'm still going to root for them. I'm always going to root for them no matter how good or bad we do. But, it shows you how important, the position groups are, and the bullpen is so important. And again, if they were smart, they wouldn't be grabbing any backup positional players. They would only be signing pitchers in the offseason. Starters from other teams to move to the bullpen, or bullpen pitchers to move to our bullpen. We don't need a backup first baseman. We don't need this right-handed bat. We don't need the Connor Joes or the Rob Refsnyders, or the Mitch Garvers. We need pitchers. And we have plenty of talent in the farm that if we do need to bring up a guy or two, right-handed bat or a backup right fielder, guess what? We have them in the farm. But again, the Mariners are too stupid to realize it, Oh, man, this team. But, even with all the struggles, I'm never going to quit. They're and like I said, they're not going to call Sloan up this year. And, I assume they'll call Kate up this year, at some point. But it just sucks that we potentially could be in a strike year next year. As far as the development of our players in the farm, we having a strike is not ideal. And hopefully we end up only missing like 62 games out of that 162, and we can still have a 100-game season missing the first 2 months of the year, because I imagine we're going to strike for a minimum of 2 months, but it could be the whole year, and hopefully it's not. I want to make sure I have a chance to, call some baseball games and whatnot. And we can always do NASCAR and NBA and NHL and WWE and AEW while we wait, but it's just not the same. I love baseball and I love college football in the NFL, but hopefully they'll figure it out. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brendan Donovan. And that is strike 3. And Donnie is going to challenge. And we lost our last challenge there. I mean, it would be good for Cade to get the experience, you know, and again, if we have any minor injuries, you know, he's already number 6. They don't want to have him pitch in the pen, even though that could help us, you know, and, you know, if we end up having any injuries to Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, Hancock, or Miller, Cade will supposedly be called up, but again, it may be just what they're saying and not really what happens, especially when we're not, you know, playing the greatest. First pitch fouled off behind the plate. They got Ali Sanchez now behind the plate here for Hedrick on the mound for the Yankees. And that is fouled off towards first base, out of play by Cal Raleigh. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8th, 8-5 Yankees. Yeah, Cade is so good that his confidence won't get shaken, though. You know, if anything, he'll be the most electric player on the team. You know, and again, even with us being not very good, you know, but he controls what he does. And to me, you know, he's going to be the next superstar on the team. You know, we already got Cole Young, we got Julio Rodriguez, and I do believe Cade, you know, will be that next guy. You know, and sooner than later, he could end up, you know, being our best pitcher out of our starting 5 or starting 6. He's got the stuff, you know, and the confidence and the aura. He's coming off a natty, putting up stats in the farm better than any of the guys that we've ever had, you know, but again, not really the team this year that you want him to join. Obviously, we'd rather have him start fresh next year, but we're so desperate for pitching. Who knows what they'll do? And down goes Cal Raleigh, and that is 2 away. Yeah, but he's going to a good team in the White Sox, so, you know, if anybody leaves the Mariners and they go to a team, you know, there's a good chance that they're probably going to play better, so. And the White Sox are a playoff team, so he's got to be happy about that. First pitch in there for a strike to Colt Emerson, who's a guy that they may actually send down to AAA. You know, Colt has been pretty good at defense, but not a very good hitter in his rookie year. You know, he still needs to probably go back to AAA. I know we gave him that big contract and whatnot, but, you know, it definitely would probably help, you know, if he went back to AAA for a while and then we have JP play, you know, back at shortstop. Now, if Colt was batting 250 to 300, then I would say, you know, keep him. But if you're batting 200 or under 200, it's probably time we send Colt back, you know, to AAA for a while. You know, even if it's only for a couple weeks or a month, you know, but we'll see if that ends up happening. But we got to wait for JP to come back. And we can't win with games without JP, apparently. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Colt. And that is out number 3. When JP Crawford is in the lineup, we're 5 or 6 games above 500. When JP Crawford is not in the lineup, we're 10 to 15 games below 500. So the JP Crawford effect is real. You know, he doesn't have to get 3-4 hits for us to win. You know, sometimes he'll just get 1 hit and get walked twice, or get hit by a pitch. Or sometimes he'll get 2 hits and get walked twice, and then the runners will bring him home. But just being patient in the box, you know, obviously helps. We know he's been a liability at defense at times, at short and at third, but still, I'd rather have JP play than him not play, because obviously he is a difference maker. And we really miss Luke Raley also, who's out for the year. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning and see who's up next, as Davila is coming in, a AAA guy for Dominguez. All right, looks like Sanchez is coming in here for the Yankees. All right, Ali Sanchez coming in. Ali. All right, Sanchez, Lombard, and Grisham are up next. I mean, honestly, the way that we've been playing this year, we might not even win a game in August. You know, I don't want to really think that way, but I mean, the way that we've been playing, it's like, you know, starting pitching great. Oh, bullpen and the hitting are nowhere to be found. And then today the hitting is there, but then the starting pitching and the bullpen blow it again. It's like we never can get all the categories going. And I hope we can win some games in August, you know, to make it a little bit better for September when the schedule gets easier. But you know, but I've never seen a Mariner team missing 3 guys out of the pen for a majority of the year, and that has really been the biggest, you know, thing for us. You know, having to have these backups in there with all the other injuries, and I've never seen this team ever this banged up before either. You know, it's not a winning combination. Bad manager, bad GM, injuries, injured bullpen, starting third baseman missing almost the whole year. You know, compared to last year when we had Gilbert miss a month and a half, Kirby missed the first 3 months, and then Robles be injured going into the wall in San Francisco. And that was pretty much it. You know, we didn't really have anything beyond that. And that's why we were able to do as good as we, you know, did on top of Cal having a historic season. And a big swing and a miss there. Nice pitch there by Davila. And that is 1 away. First pitch in there to George Lombard Jr. Takes a strike looking high and inside. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch and another hard hit ball off Davila, rolling to Julio. And we got a runner at first now for Trent Grisham. Yeah, and it's not like, you know, we were, you know, big buyers. I mean, we picked up Taylor Ward and got rid of Castillo's contract. So it's not like the upper management really believed that this team was going to make it. You know, they just did the very bare minimum, try to get Castillo's contract off the books, pick up a right-handed bat, and that was pretty much it. And normally when we're contenders and we're a really good World Series caliber type of team, you know, we're making a lot more moves than that. So, you know, and it just kind of stinks because we have so much talent. You know, but the injuries and the lack of good quality pitching and the lack of hitting consistently has really hurt us. And also, you know, everyone's mentals. You know, I don't think everyone is mentally on the same page. And I have to assume that, you know, half of the team or the whole team has given up on Dan. I don't think that his message is, you know, coming clear anymore. I don't think anyone is really happy that Dan Wilson's manager. So I'm not saying that they fully have given up on him, but, you know, because they got to play for themselves. You know, they're not going to just sabotage the games, you know, because they obviously have to play for themselves and their contract and their, you know, stats, you know, themselves. And back, and gone. And look at that. Davila giving up a 2-run jack to Grisham. And just like that, 10-5 Yankees. Make the bleeding stop. And that's 2 home runs there from Trent Grisham tonight. No Aaron Judge, no Giancarlo Stanton, no Cody Bellinger, and they can still put up 10 runs. Insane. And no matter how good or bad we do, I'm still going to root for this team. But, man, it's been a rough 2026. I'm definitely looking forward to football and college football. I'm not going to lie about that, you know. But I'll never give up on this team. But, man, I just wish that, you know, things would have been better this season. And hopefully there'll be some big changes at the end of the year. Nothing would make me happier than firing Dan and firing Jerry, but, you know, most likely it probably won't happen. And if you're not going to get rid of both, for the love of God, get rid of Dan at least. DePoto is terrible at picking up free agents in the offseason, but he is good at drafting. So at least there's something that Jerry's good at, you know. But again, how many times are we going to be picking up shitty players in the offseason? You know, he's not been doing a very good job in that category. And Dan is just... You know, and I don't think anyone's going to hire Dan after he gets fired. Who's going to hire him? Nobody. His career is over. Once Dan gets fired, his career is done. There's nobody that's going to hire Dan Wilson, period. And a lot of times, former players will go through a revolving door and get hired and fired, but I don't believe anybody's going to hire Dan Wilson after the Mariners fire him. I mean, unless they want to lose a bunch of games. Bottom of the 8th, 10-5 New York. I agree to that, Rebecca. You know, I mean, I just wish there was more, you know, Tony La Russas and, you know, Dusty Bakers and guys like that were still around that could help us, you know. But there's not a whole lot of amazing managers that are out there anymore. Lou Pinellas don't grow on trees. But the Lou Piniella type, that's the type of personality that we need. You don't need, you know, someone that's trying to be everyone's friend, someone that's soft personality-wise like Service and Wilson. We need someone that's got some passion and some good baseball IQ. That'll be the guy that turns the ship around. You know, we can't hire another, you know, I want to try to be friends with everyone kind of guy, you know. And Jones flies out to left. And finally, that is out number 3. All right, Mariner fans, all we need is 5 runs to tie, 6 to win. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, leadoff hitter, DHing Taylor Ward, who should never be a leadoff hitter. Make the change, Dan, you dummy. Batting second, filling in for Cole Young is Leo Rivas, and batting third is Randy Orosarena. Having Leo pinch hit for Cole Young is comical. But I guess that's what Dan Wilson does, huh? And again, if the schedule makers, you know, didn't do us dirty this year, you know, playing the Marlins and the Rays before the All-Star break, playing the Rangers and the Dodgers back-to-back, and then having the toughest schedule that I've ever seen, you know, even if this was last year's team, this is an insane schedule. They could have broken up some of these games in August and then put some of them in September instead of having like the most difficult month of all time on a team that is struggling and then having kind of an easier schedule in September. Because honestly, you know, if we keep playing like this, we're going to be 15, 20 games below 500, and it's not going to matter what we do in September. And there's got to be a silver lining, you know, besides Brooks Beats. Dan Wilson needs to be fired, you know. And again, the Red Sox fired their manager, and look what happened with them. They went on a big winning streak, you know. Seattle needs to do the same. Dan Wilson ain't it. And we may still continue to lose games with a new manager, but at least it's not Dan Wilson. And that'll make a lot of Mariners. I haven't heard one Mariner fan say, I want Dan Wilson for the next 5 to 10 years. Said no one ever, and he's not going to get a job anywhere else. It's time for him to be, hey, you were a former catcher that he caught for Randy Johnson, and you were a decent catcher. Not a great catcher, but you were a decent catcher. But as far as a manager, you're clueless. First pitch to Taylor Ward is low and away. 1-0 count. Pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Taylor Ward. Try to ends up. Let's go M's. Now we just got to try to, get at least a run for momentum for tomorrow's game. And 1-1 pitch, little blooper into shallow center, and it drops. Nice job there by Taylor Ward. Next up is Leo Rivas. On deck is Randy Arozarena. Exactly, Rebecca. The things that he says in the interviews is just comical. And it's not all on him, but it definitely, there is some parts, that is on him. Like, the lineup. His lineups are terrible, even going back to last year, even when we had success. Lack of pitching, lack of hitting, lack of bullpen, sometimes lack of defense, brain dead manager. Shitty GM, but we just got to do the best that we can with what we have. And again, when you play the number 1 team in the American League and then you play the second best team in the American League back to back, another, just kind of double whammy by the schedule makers. It's just, we've just been brutalized with the schedule, last 2 series going into the All-Star break and pretty much every series after the All-Star break. 0-2 count to Leo Rivas. 0-2 pitch. Little dribbler ends up going out of play. Oh-2 pitch for strike 3. Down goes Leo Rivas. And why is Rivas even batting over Cole Young? He's like really the only bright spot we have all year. Make it make sense. If you're going to have someone come in, not for fucking Cole Young, you kidding me? All right, next up is Randy Arozarena. Randy had a home run yesterday and a home run today, but, it doesn't help when you have an incompetent manager and a bad bullpen. First pitch, big swing and a miss there for Randy, 0-1 count. And we got an early morning game tomorrow. I believe it's around 10:30-ish a.m. So set your schedules accordingly. It will be an early stream tomorrow morning. Pitch is low and away with a sinker, 97 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Got to try to get at least 1 run. 2 would be great, but obviously that would be asking a lot. And Randy with a little slow dribbler up the middle, double play. And wow, Randy actually hustling to first. Someone pinch me. Randy actually didn't give up on a play. I'm in shock right now. That should have been game over. But somehow Randy actually decided to hustle for once. Interesting. Ward's best spot is 7 or 8, right now. Leading off, no way in hell. even though he's been able to get a hit in almost every game besides one, you know, I'd rather have Cole Young lead off, you know, and then have a Randy bat second, Julio third, Dom fourth. And then you can flip-flop Naylor, you know, 5 or 6, and having Cal bat 7th or 8th. You know, probably have Cal bat 8th and Ward bat 7th, and obviously Emerson at 9th. But, you know, and you got to remember, this Taylor Ward isn't the same Taylor Ward when he was on the Angels. You know, he had a drop-off on the Orioles, so. And into the gap, and it drops. Go, go, go. And Randy now is at third. There we go. Dominic Canzone. At least we have a few of our guys that played well at the beginning of the game. They haven't given up. And now we got runners at first and third with 2 outs. All right, let me see if we get a 3-run jack by Julio to make it 10-8. That would make me feel a lot better. I mean, even though Julio already has a home run, but Julio has given us some late inning heroics when other guys have not been able to do it, so. Ward is a patient hitter, and that's why he's leading off in Dan's mind, because he thinks he's J.P. Crawford, you know, that he's going to be able to get walks, and, you know, he's going to be able to have that same type of impact that J.P. has. And, you know, even though he's been able to get, you know, a 1 hit roughly a game, I, you know, don't think it's very smart, you know, to have a guy that isn't, you know, Cole or Randy or Julio. Those are the guys that should be batting in the top 3 spots. You know, but a lot of the guys struggled early on. You know, Cal early on, Naylor and Julio. Even though Naylor and Julio have turned it around, Cal hasn't. Mooney was terrible at the beginning of the year. He turned it around, thank God. You know, Kirby and Wu were bad at the beginning, and they've kind of turned it around as well. So, you know, so we have had some guys get better, you know, but we've also had guys underachieve, and it doesn't help that we don't have access to Luke Rayleigh for the rest of the year, and we're still waiting on JP, Brash, Criswell, and Vargas. 1-0 pitch to Julio. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Top of the 9th inning, we're down by 5, but with one amazing swing, Julio can make it a 10-8 game. And even if we end up taking the L, that will give us momentum going into tomorrow morning's game against the Yankees to prevent the sweep. Oh, we'll be rejuvenated if we fire Dan Wilson. And Julio with a little dribbler down the middle, throw to first, and that is out number 3, and that is the ball game. Final score, Yankees 10, Mariners 5. All right, let's go over the stats quickly of both teams. Not a whole lot to go over for the Mariners, but more than we normally get. You know, normally we're getting 0 to 3 runs, and we actually got 5 today. All right, Grisham 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs and 2 home runs. My God. Ben Rice 2 for 4 with 1 RBI and 3 runs. You see a trend here. Spencer Jones 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. My God. Luis Garcia Jr. 0 for 4. Elliot Ramos 0 for 3. Jazz Chisholm Jr. 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Ryan McMahon 2 for 4 with an RBI. Austin Wells 1 for 2 with a run. And George Lombard Jr. 2 for 4 with 2 runs. And let's go with the Mariners here. Taylor Ward 1 for 5. Cole Young 1 for 4 with a run. Randy Arozarena 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs with a home run. Dominic Canzone 2 for 5 with an RBI and a home run. Julio Rodriguez 1 for 3 with a home run. Josh Naylor 1 for 2 with an RBI. Brendan Donovan 1 for 4. Cal Raleigh 1 for 2, and Colt Emerson 0 for 4. And you know, again, Bryce Miller and Gabe Spire not doing their job. It's just tough, you know. But again, I'll be back tomorrow. And again, we got an early morning game tomorrow, and we got to do everything in our power to prevent the sweep. So final score, Yankees 10, Mariners 5. I never will give up on this team no matter how bad we do, and hopefully things will be better tomorrow. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. And I got one question for you. We know talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Tridents up, and go Mariners.